And I'm actually super excited. Like I said, I wanted to put it off to the side because I wanted to save that for more in mind me. Yeah, his yeah, like I don't definitely once again one of those things like I don't really agree with the Christiany aspects. But other than that, honestly, his fucking take on the malls based as fuck. That is such a good idea. That'd be so cool to live in like a mall like that. Because you could even do like areas of the mall that have like hydroponics and shit. Man, that'd be so cool. Have a whole bunch of different like apartment buildings for people to stay in. It'd probably like be a little bit to retrofit it, but I tell you what, it'd be absolutely ballin'. Okay, we are gonna play Victor Fran. We're gonna try to. Oh my god, this might actually work.
Particular about.
Oh, this is way better. Yeah, there are, and that's the thing is like especially strip malls and shit too. Oh shit, can we click off this now? Oh my god. Okay, now we might not have to push Shift Tab every time. Okay, this might work. Exit game? Hell no. All right, we're gonna turn the sound down a little bit. We're gonna turn old Vashi boy up here. Oh, can we turn him up?
Socialism and about.
Oh, we're full cranked on that one. Shit. Wait, is this not picking up Victor Fran? What the fuck? Coffee based. Strap in for this one. Oh boy. Tell you what, go make your coffee. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick, and then we're gonna listen to this and play this game. Because if I gotta strap in, I don't want to end up peeing myself. That wouldn't be cool. so I've got like 12 things running in the background. All right, I think this is meta. I think we're reviewing a video while playing video games. Nobody's ever done it before. Okay, maybe it'll kick off. Maybe.
Hassan and about this discourse on Twitch that is facilitating a thoroughly unproductive conversation. Your approaching this is reflective of a lot of denunciation Hassan gets from people who aren't interested in the health of the socialist community. And don't think I haven't seen your content, by the way, okay? I know how you talk about Hassan, and it's far from a hyper-measured analysis of his behavior. I'm looking at your YouTube thing right now, and that YouTube short that you had is you, like, scream laughing at a video, which is basically saying that Hassan changed his principles when he made more money.
The grossly affluent is a moral obscenity, and our economic system inevitably leads to oppressive and exploitative power hierarchies. Redistribution
Oh, is this when he did the
only
meme?
ethical option.
This is the best.
But now that I think about it a little more clearly, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? I think I heard that in a video game once. And you know,
I got somebody photoshopped Hassan's body over over Andrew Ryan from BioShock. It's a fucking great meme. I got it saved on my phone. Same old-timey grain and everything.
Man not entitled to the sweat of his brow.
You can't argue against our positions, so instead you hold us to a higher standard,
a meme.
monastic standard.
Life is a
If
meme.
you believe in this idea, I feel like you should try your best to live by that principle.
That's literally a hypocrisy argument. You know, I hate to bring it up, but I've noticed this odd trend of people with whom I agree on almost everything, and then I look at them and they spend all their time shitting on the left and misrepresenting our positions. So.
What is
Isn't that what you do when you shit on like sock dems?
Like, is there any more obligations that he has?
Oh my god, how much time do they spend like shitting on sock dems all the fucking time? Jesus. Oh no, almost died.
How was it going? I see you playing Diablo.
Oh my god, is it okay? Is it too
It's
quiet?
going pretty
like
good.
it's too quiet.
In large part because I am playing Diablo.
Nice.
Duber, I sympathize with that. I was like, video could be a little bit louder. Okay, I was the other day. I was like, oh, I'll listen to this Vaush video. You know, we'll see. I couldn't do it. I've listened, I think, total one actual Vaush video where he was like the star of the video. Just can't do it, man. It's just not my. It's not my style. It's not something. There's people out there that enjoy it. So I mean, get on them. But yeah, just not my cup of tea.
All right. Is your chat informed on more or less what we're going to be talking about today? Or should I
Not really. You should inform them.
Okay. So, I reached out because I wanted to have a discussion about the type of political advocacy we could expect for individuals who have a large political platform on like things like Twitch and things like this.
God damn it, we're gonna pause so many times. That when I was watching the Doomer video. Okay, I lied. I've watched 2 videos now where Vaush was the main focal. The other one was the Irish laddie debate. Oh my god. That was awful. It was easily one of the worst conversations. Oh, no, with Irish laddie. There was a debate that Vaush did with Irish laddie. And he debated on Irish laddie being that Irish laddie was a white supremacist. Oh yeah, it's part of the Doomer video, the Doomer politics video. He goes over it as one of his like what? Who's the? Are you no? Are you fucking with me? Oh, well, who was the one that he debated? Who was the one he debated that if he was a white nationalist or not? The one that taught his dog how to do the Nazi salute. Which one was that? Which one am I getting mixed up? Count Dankula, thank you. Sorry, my bad. That's who I was thinking. Because he had the accent. What an idiot. Yeah, the Count Dankula one. Yeah, sorry. My apologies. That was a really dumb moment. Brain fart. Just assumed he had the fucking accent. Yeah, the Count Dankula one. That was bad. That was a really bad debate. So I've watched 2 videos. Thank you. This is why you're here, Duber. Yeah. Well, and the issue was, is even if he was, it was a really bad fucking debate. Just bad evidence, bad everything. So, but the Brie brand worked. The Vaush to Irish Laddie, or the Irish Laddie to Vaush. Yeah, yeah. Obviously, I have no history of that lore. I have to. You'll have to fill me in sometime. Be interesting. We're half steering into the memes for this stream. Wow. Yeah. To think they weren't friends, right? Isn't that what Vaush said?
This discourse was primarily spawned as a result of
this is gonna become a Vaush hating
controversy
channel
with the son, and like what,
Oh
what
my God, we're gonna be like Demon Mama, but for Vaush. We can't let that happen, Duber.
expect people to do when they have large political platforms on like Twitch or what have you, right?
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, and I wanted to have a conversation in regards to this and get your opinion on
Don't you run
where
away from my
exactly
meteors.
you stand on this.
Sure.
I don't.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Okay, so I don't want to hyper focus on Hassan specifically because this isn't meant to specifically target him, but more target like
The movement as a
what
whole.
do we do when we have an excess of resources
me.
while we do this, and what does it even
This
mean to have an
sounds
excess of
wisely.
resources? How
It's like
much
the death of a
resources is an
brother or
excess,
sister.
and so on and so forth, right? But I might use him or reference him often, just that way everybody can more or less be on the same page. Because I imagine most of your audience and most people know who he is and probably know how much money he makes, considering all the controversy and all that stuff. So, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Gotcha. Works all right. Oh, you should
okay.
introduce yourself, by the way. Did you actually
Oh, yeah.
say your name?
Who doesn't know?
I don't think I did. No.
Man, I'm
I
a fucking
am
normie and I
irrelevant,
know who
alright?
Ahrelevant is.
The actual word irrelevant was taken, and I like it, so it's pronounced exactly like the word irrelevant, like somebody is a nobody. And yeah, I'm a SOCDEM political streamer, primarily like a React Andy.
Like a base
so-
standy.
Yeah, and I watch a lot
Yeah,
of your content,
really has.
watch a lot of Sans
I,
content, watch a lot of Destiny's content and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I am. I'm like a VOD watcher. So.
Actually, I think so. I
Fair.
surprisingly found him
it's,
through
it's all part
Booksmarts.
of the Twitch ecosystem. It needs to be
Exactly.
kept fair and
It's
balanced.
true. I am. I'm a
That's
bottom
what you like.
feeder.
Of course, my opinion on the Hassan House stuff, I think, is
Based.
largely a matter
Oh,
of
shit, I
public
should've
record,
healed.
But if you want
damn
to go back over the basics, I'm happy to cover it.
Right. So
Got distracted, laughing at myself.
I just kind of wanted greater clarification on some of these ideas because I think there's a lot of
shit,
of
we're both
missing
playing Dungeon Crawlers.
each other's points when it comes to this stuff. So like
Mine's better. Though.
I think there's a lot of
Diablo
people
2,
that
I know.
might think that some people's opinion who might be advocating that we do more with the resources we have are saying like socialism is win no house or socialism is win poor. And I don't really. I
Fucking
feel like
memes are
this
so
is kind
stupid.
of missing the. We're
The
missing each
overall
other.
point? Yeah, no shit.
Well, yeah. Okay, so
So definitely.
I at least want to come from a position of like, I think that we could be doing more when we have an excess of resources. I think we ought to be doing more in order to further political causes, in order to bettering our community and stuff like that.
Are people
and to
going
my
to change if
knowledge,
you're not going to change?
You are of the position that this is more of a, for all the dank memes that might get posted, a subarogatory position more than anything. Like, it would be nice for us to do this, but we have no moral obligation to go.
Because like I just want to butt in real quick. Sorry, Irrelevant. I will let you continue. Not only that, then what do you like if the people like I'm sure I get into it because really the base of this argument is like if the people advocating for it and trying to educate others on it aren't able to do it themselves, how the fuck do you expect anybody that doesn't know anything about your movement or maybe doesn't have the same ideas and the same obviously ability to educate people expected to set the example? Who's setting the example? Who is it? If it's not you, if it's never meant to be you and you're just supposed to educate people, who the fuck is meant to set the example? Who then becomes... Oh, shit, I'm almost dead again. Who then becomes the educator for it? Like, really? I don't know how you guys want to do this. I don't know how this shit's set up. Right? You want to fucking... You want to be politically advantageous? Like, you want co-ops to work? Like, I'll give, like, Dario on Twitter there. This base as fuck. He said he's been... Yeah, it turns out, yeah, it's just all talk. Dario, he's on Twitter. He advocates for co-ops, and he, from the sounds of it, has been working at a game company that's an actual co-op. Good for him. That's awesome.
Oh, thank the gods! You came to save me. I was on patrol with some...
But that's the thing. If you're gonna, because at this point, you just basically admitted it's empty. Yeah, I know. Who could have guessed? I know. Not I, says the Twitch streamer. It's realistic at the end of the day. Like if you're not pushing people out to go do things, what's the point? It is just entertainment, and just accept that it's entertainment. Accept that like this is just like days of our lives, Twitch style. True. It's good to see class solidarity between wealthy streamers. Yeah, wealthy political streamers. Because you know what? I'll give it right now. You're a gaming streamer, and you're playing games, and you're fucking like you're like XQC or something, where all you do is game and meme all day. Fuck it, earn that cash, spend it however you want. You never ever like. I'm not gonna criticize them. Fuck it, they're doing exactly what they should be doing. Right? They're fucking earning that money off that gaming. That's respect. But like when you got people that are like advocating these ideas that you want to see society shape forward, but you're not even willing to do it, like you're literally trying to influence people and not just meme. Or you can admit that it is all a meme and then just fucking bite that bullet. Who cares?
Out of our way to do like a lot of like, let's say, funding of canvassing or what have you, if we're a political streamer or what have you, and we have excess resources, correct? Or
yeah,
find secrets. Oh,
well,
yeah.
I think it's good if we do it, of course. It seems odd to me, the idea, whether we're talking about ideology or access, to reshift our moral framework for what a person should be expected to do, not just like in accordance with what they could do, but also like how we treat that conversationally. Or to put it another way, you know, if a person is a, I guess we have to use this as an example, but if a person like makes their living advocating for socialist shit on social media, you know, and keeps doing it over and over and gets really successful doing it, makes a lot more money, at what point do they switch from being a positive representation for the movement because of what they're advocating for to being a negative one because they spend too much of their money on houses or whatever? I think there's a really ambiguous gradient there, and the best thing that we can really do is we can just...
But as your means increase, it'd be assuming that you could do more things with that. Like right now, I can't go start a business. Like I can't go buy a McDonald's and make it a co-op where the workers kind of all work together. Everybody's got equal cut of like money coming in and stuff to the best of my ability, right? I'm sure there's like franchising issues. Yeah, the movement, quote unquote. What, like, I guess if I had $1 million, I would go do that. As I like advocated for that stuff. Oh shit, I got the means now to go buy this McDonald's with somebody to make it a co-op to like prove that like, hey, we can move this shit forward. We can go do. And I agree, Duber. It is completely stationary. But I like to think of what if we could make this better. Realistically, I don't have a movement either. I'm pretty stationary right now, but I'm hoping with getting this new job in the future that I can do more shit. I can do more in my community. It'll push me. It'll drive me. I'll actually have time to go do these things. But I hope that it'd be neat to live stream some of that shit. Yeah, no, and I agree. That's why a new breed must rise. New breed of Twitch streamers must rise from the ashes. I mean, they won't. It'll always be griftery, but what are you going to do? Sock damn gang. You know, we take the punishment. We are the bad man. And it would be neat. I'd like to do it. But right now it's not advantageous, but if my means change and my ability to extend resources into doing so, I would hope that I would actually go forth and do it. And I would hope that Duber would be there to call me out when I was just a filthy grifter. Because that's what we need Duber for. What are we're just looking for the other secret. Okay, do we crush the slay monsters without taking any damage? What are you, crazy? Good. We need you, Duber. You need to re in my chat. And that's why I do want to do, like, I do article reading. I'd like to go do some, like, I would like to go do some actual charity work, some Habitat for Humanity shit. Because I have a lot of construction and I enjoy it. But I just don't like doing it as, like, a job. But I would do it with a little bit of my free time. Go volunteer. Plus, because I would probably miss it. Keep my skills sharp. Like, doing stuff like that would be neat. To actually go out and make a little bit of difference. Because I know they build habitat places, I believe, out here. So. Just pay someone to keep doing. Yeah. Yeah, true, right? And just send other people to do it. No. Man, if I had that kind of money, you're talking like game changers for things. Like that's life-changing amount of money that you could help so many people. And it's not even like, and the funny thing is like we always kind of laugh when we talk about like government investment or like investing your money. He could have done things that could have really realistically furthered his political cause and his like his monetary cause. Like the franchising somewhere and making it a co-op, that'd be great. Your workers would be so happy. Like if it's really that good and that advantageous, your workers would be so happy. You'd be making fucking money. You could just pay somebody to fucking manage it. As long as money was coming in, who cared? Like, man. Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah, no shit, eh? Be like, yeah, I am actually politically active. I'm fucking actively paying people to go canvass in these areas, or I'm supporting these candidates, or well, yeah, you have the business as a co-op. Like, you don't even have to do anything there. You can literally pay people to do all that for you. And you're making more money, and it's like guaranteed fucking income. It's nice passive income for you. And you don't have to rely on the stream and sponsorships as much. Jesus.
Encourage people to do as much as possible with the resources they have, but that's not really what the discourse is about, right? It's about moral condemnation, which is where I think my main issue comes out.
Right. So if we're talking about like moral condemnation and like, I think that when we're talking about holding people to a certain standard and where exactly we're talking about like moral obligations and what people ought to, you know, be like doing with their resources and what have you, and whether or not I can condemn somebody for having excess and not spending that excess or using that excess, whether it be capital itself or certain money itself or influence.
Yeah, no shit, eh? I have limited resources.
I think we could look at either one. So maybe I could be more amicable to any idea when it comes down to money or what have you.
Like I've got nearly about as much debt as I do assets.
From a position of influence.
How the fuck am I going to go do a lot of this shit?
Way to money, and see how we get there. So when I'm looking at things,
do you mind if I try something a little different with this conversation?
Go for it.
No.
So the central concern here is about hypocrisy, right? So
not necessarily for me, at least.
Okay, not necessarily.
Man, that focus on the hypocrisy.
Think, you know, are you a socialist?
No, I'm not. I'm
Man, that fucking that fixation on hypocrisy is really fucking weird. It's not just hypocrisy. It's just the question of who's leading the charge. If you've delegated yourself as this like YouTube fucking influencer that has these communities and this ideology, and you're willing to argue for it, it's not even that you're being a hypocrite. It's like you've literally designated yourself like fucking front of the line. You're charging for this shit. You're willing to go put yourself out there to talk about it. But apparently that's all. The talk is cheap. So it's not even the hypocrisy. It's just literally like who's leading the charge then? Give us somebody that we can get behind, because it seems that everybody that anybody looks to, like, that's the other frustrating thing, is you'll have like mildly progressive people that look to somebody like Joe Biden and be like, well, this is who's leading the charge. I'm gonna, kind of fall behind him. Or even like Justin Trudeau in Canada, you could speak of, like, right? Like, he's not the best, but he's better than the other options we had that were gonna win, right? Like, it sucks, but we have to throw our support behind somebody. And then they're like, well, look at this candidate. You could throw their support behind them, but it's like, but nobody else is, like, right? Like, the general consensus is we're going with this person. And then to always get shit on for going with the person that is going to at least further a little bit of the cause you have is just always really frustrating. But I don't know. What do I know?
So, as somebody who would consider himself a socialist, it seems like the person who should be mad first and foremost here is probably myself, right? So I guess I'd have to ask you, why should I be upset? What, like, because people, I've seen this from everyone, like, Destiny Ben Shapiro or whatever, where they're like,
why do you think you should be upset,
I don't
Vaush?
care about people making.
Put yourself in somebody else's shoes for a second.
But socialists would, and I'm sitting there as a socialist saying, well, I'm not. So, should I be offended? Like, make the argument for me to be offended.
What do you think? Like,
Right.
that's the other thing
So
you can't think outside the box.
I think it comes down to if somebody has at least, I don't know. I don't really view it as an offense thing. It's more of if people are able to accumulate potentially infinite resources from perpetuating an idea that they stand for a political cause, and I don't even think this has to do exclusively with socialism, but like perpetuate the idea that they stand for a political cause. At what point can I say that, like, talk is cheap?
True.
When does the talk become the walk, or is there no such, or is the talk the walk in and of itself, right? Like,
well, that's my question to you, right? Well, the talk is the walk when it comes to, like, being a political pundit, right? Like, Tucker Carlson isn't dangerous because part of his money goes to, like, promoting Republican candidates. He's dangerous because he has a platform that tens of millions of people listen to. So, I mean, talking is walking.
Well, and then you have the
when we're
crazy
talking
people
about
that they will get
political advocacy,
behind.
because advocacy is largely a vocal process. But when it comes to, like, at what point can you expect to do more? I think there is a good question there. A lot of leftists, for example, are upset with leftists in electoral systems who take up space, That's one of the central criticisms of the Democratic Party. The fact that, they're better than the Republicans, sure, but they take up space. They become the left opposition party, meaning that
only because you make it that
sort of
way.
Cultural, social, and political space for a genuinely left-leaning party. I think there's some legitimacy to that argument. You have to talk about what you're losing, what's being taken away. And in the case of Hassan, we aren't really losing anything. There's not a, what would you call it? A much of a cost to benefit analysis.
Because I feel like realistically, just trying to think of what he just said. He's like, realistically, it's because you don't want to work. They're not in opposition. There are things that you guys could agree on. The issue is like people don't want to compromise. Wait, aren't you a vegan? Yeah, I am. I advocate for vegan policies and spread awareness about the issues of my platform. But you eat meat. Yeah, I can't help it. I was born in a society that eats meat. You can't be a vegan and eat meat. If that's how you want to advocate for veganism, that's fine. I guess I'm just more pragmatic. Oh, fucking true. That's a good
The larger
meme.
he gets,
I like that.
the more he speaks, the more
I'll click
people
on that
listen
one again
to
so I
him.
can save that.
The happier I get. It's very nice to see that the largest streamer who talks politics in the Western world is a socialist, even if I hate him and want to be larger than him. So
sure,
right. So that's my perspective when I look at this stuff. Now, by the way, I do think that Hassan should be doing more with this. I think that at his size, he could be doing unfathomable good with fundraising and stuff like that, But it's about how you approach it. If your approach is like, socialist, hypocrite, big house, socialism is win no house, yada yada, we're not really facilitating any positive.
That's not even
changes
his
within the
argument.
movement. We're just looking for an excuse
Not
to
even
attack
paying
a socialist
attention.
we don't like.
Not even listening.
And Lord knows I see plenty of that in this discourse. But if you want to be affirmative, positive,
Rele.
reaffirming, you're doing good, but you could do better. That's an attitude I like.
Okay, so I guess then what is a moral obligation that you would set for somebody like Hassan?
Oh no,
Like,
yeah. Oh, this is kind of the question I was just thinking of. Sorry, was like, okay, well, what could Hassan be doing to doing better? Is there anything that Hassan could be doing better to advocate for socialism? Which is kind of what Rele's going to ask, like, what's his moral obligation? Oh shit! Oh shit! I don't know what that does. Forgotten King.
Is there any moral obligations that he has to hold up to at all?
I mean, I guess I'd like it if he didn't murder or rape people.
Jesus, how
fundamental do
low
you
is
want
your
me to start
fucking
here?
bar?
Right. So, like, I guess as a political pundit of socialism, or I guess
Jesus,
we can
what
do
a
it left of
disingenuous
being on the
answer.
left at all. Like, what moral obligations do I have as a political pundit on the left? Do I have none whatsoever?
Yeah.
Well, in a purely utilitarian sense, my only real answer is that I always want him to contribute like a net positive utility to political discourse, right? Which I feel he does through his size. I don't agree with all of his
That
takes.
just
mind you.
means
I
he
don't
wants
think
whatever
he's
Vaush agrees with.
always
But
educated
then
on
it's
the stuff that
okay.
he speaks about. But
Oh
as
my
a net,
God.
if we were to choose sort of the
He didn't say left, he's
archetypical
just-
frat boy politics news pundit, I would certainly rather him be Hassan than some, edgy centrist or even like a progressive liberal like Philip DeFranco.
Right. And so I'm just wondering, I guess,
because Vaush agrees with him.
from my perspective, I don't know why we would set the bar so low.
Yeah, no
and
shit.
is where I'm at. I feel like that bar is set really, really low, and we do ourselves a disservice by setting it so low. We can. I feel like
There must be a
asking for
secret back
very
here.
simple things like
Is there secrets?
once a year doing a fundraiser that
But I
you
do
don't even
ask for
have
that.
to. Sure, but as like a moral obligation.
What do you do if he doesn't meet that obligation?
You
I
call
would
him
say
out.
that you ought do that, and that it is bad for you to not do it.
Well, sure, but I mean that's utilitarianism.
This whole conversation, the reason Rale's not going to get through. Just, I mean, realistic at the end of the day, a Duber, you can be like, well, it's true, but it's just so obvious, critical, I know. Vaush just doesn't want to call out Hassan, really, at the end of the day. It is like, oh my god. Like, realistic at the end, because that would have been, that right there is the easy. Yeah, shit, we just call him out when he's not doing his moral obligation. Easy. And that's what I'm guessing what Rele's answer would be. Like, well, what would you do? Well, just call them out and be like, hey, Hassan, like, you should, like, it's probably good that you try to do at least one fucking charity stream. Yeah, of course. Oh my god, is it all about the viewers? Oh my god. That's crazy. Misa want the viewers. Right? That's all it's about at the end of the day.
Some 101, right? Like, do good
Okay.
things, don't do bad things. But what should we do, like, socially? What should
Poor
the
Rele.
social consequences
Yeah,
be
you can
to not
hear
doing
him.
that? Let's
Condemn
you
them.
have
Say that it is a bad thing to do.
sure, to not do that fundraiser thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you do?
Sure, yeah. I mean,
What would you do
in
to
terms
Hassan?
of like the distinction between doing a bad thing and not doing a good thing, it can be kind of fuzzy, right? Like it's a bad thing to not save a drowning child.
Sure.
And it's a good thing to do it. So
Jesus.
the absence of a good action sometimes can be considered in and of itself a bad action.
Holy
Right.
fuck!
and
Somebody get this guy a
yeah,
fucking
allow me to be
gym
a little
mat.
bit more specific when I'm using the word morally.
I literally
a
realistically don't
moral
want to hurt
obligation,
himself with all the
right?
fucking
So,
mental
like,
gymnastics.
I'm using
on,
what
Jesus.
I've at least picked up as your kind of position on a moral obligation versus a supererogatory thing, right? Supererogatory being like you're going out of your way, you're doing something good that like you have no obligation to do. Nobody was expecting it of you, but you went above and beyond. Congratulations, thumbs up, right?
Yeah.
And what I'd consider to be a moral obligation is what you need to do before
Yeah.
you are committing an action that is bad. You need to do this, otherwise you are doing something
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Right?
When
Yeah.
That's the way
I
that
hope you
I
others,
consider it.
hope
I
other
guess the more that I
streamers
think
will
about
talk
it,
to me now.
when I tried to start out with this stuff,
This will be my
I
canceling
was
from
told
watching this
that
video. I can already
utilitarians
feel
don't
it.
actually have a way of distinguishing between supererogatory
It's gonna be that
and
turtle
obligatory
meme.
behavior.
My time has come.
That when you get right down to it, you can make as many overarching or like
biases.
superseding
Just
systems
much
as you
like my
want,
epidermis
but
is showing,
a
my bias is
utilitarian will
showing.
never actually have a definitive
All right, we got
answer
shit.
for
We gotta get to the
questions
end in
like
a
that.
minute. Oh
It's
god.
just try to do good things and
We
try
got
not to do
1
bad
minute to
things.
save the
All
world.
questions as to what's obligatory or supererogatory are kind of relative, right? Is it obligatory that you give money to charity? Well, probably not many people would say that. It's supererogatory. But what if you make billions? At what dollar amount exactly does that distinction arise when it becomes necessary as opposed to?
Well,
it being
look, we
something
can't
that
draw a
the thing you
line,
can do that is
so-
good. In the
Well,
absence
yeah.
of a definitive answer, all I can
We can't
really
draw
say
a
is that I
line, so
think
what's
that
the
we
point in
should, as a
drawing a
general
line?
rule, encourage people to do good when they can, and discourage people from doing bad when they can.
Well, I don't think that it's like something that there may just because there is gray area that doesn't mean that we have to make an appeal to that gray area being so absolute that we throw out the entire concept of a morally obligatory action.
What do we
I
get?
think
What do we get from the moral obligatory language relative to what I'm using? Because I'm agreeing with you. We should encourage him to change his behavior on that. And in terms of affecting a better outcome,
but is he doing something
that's
bad?
The best you're going to get. What I'm suggesting is the most effective way of ameliorating the problem you're describing, is it not?
Because that's not the question.
I would disagree. I would think, in effect, that what you have is the reason why I use more.
Because if you don't, if he doesn't need to change anything, why would it be bad? If he needs to change something, that's probably not good.
To be morally obligatory, that's really the difference. Saying that, like, oh well, you're doing what you need to do, which is just, say, whatever we consider to be, propagating socialism to a, thumbs up degree, right? And I don't want to hard stick on socialism. This applies to all different political ideologies, right? You're promoting that ideology. However, right, like you taking in the excuse me.
I said I'd rather prefer a
but
consistent
socialism
person,
in and of itself
consistent conservative
doesn't
to an
say
inconsistent
that you have to
socialist
like go above and beyond and do all this
you can work with
stuff,
consistency.
but, like, we can hold them to that standard through a moral obligation, so that way we can condemn them when they do not meet it. Because otherwise, I'm just saying, hey, you know what? It'd be nice if you did all of this stuff, but you're not wrong for not doing any of it.
Well, why would a socialist want to do that?
Well, because moral condemnation is something that should be taken seriously.
Yeah, you should be shaming people that are doing like what you perceive as like bad behaviors in your society. And if one of those is living, like if one of those things is living to excess, and you recognize that living to excess is like something that is kind of hurting your society, I think it's okay to like shame people. Be like, hey man, you're living pretty well above your means. Like, are you kind of doing enough to fulfill the needs of others in the society that you recognize that people's needs aren't being met, and that you argue about people's needs not being met all fucking day? So yeah, I think there's there's tactful ways to go about shaming, because there's making somebody feel like a piece of shit, and then there's making somebody feel guilty. And you have to go with the guilty aspect of the shame, not the like making them look like a piece of shit. Because look, a piece of shit, everybody just like shuts down, understandably so. Where if you feel that like sense of guilt and you kind of appeal to that, a lot of people are a little more receptive. So. Oh shit! Oh my god.
Overwhelmingly, it's conservatives.
Only paid his editor because he was publicly shamed. Yeah, true.
Liberals doing this.
Shamed hard,
which
too.
suggests to me that the attitude you're advocating for here is not actually in the best interest of our movement. It sounds like it's in the best interest of our movement.
How is it not? How is it not?
Like consistency, good optics, self-checking.
Oh my!
But in reality, it just seems like a thinly veiled effort at attacking people that you don't like on the left.
What?
You say it's not about hypocrisy, but do we have these conversations about socialists?
How can you unironically list all these good like traits that are really good, like consistency? Oh fuck! What did you even say? Like, hang on. Let's go back a second.
I'm just saying, hey, you know what? It'd be nice if you did all of this stuff, but you're not wrong for not doing any of it.
Well, why would a socialist want?
Although, you know what? I'm shitting on Vaush this entire time. Let me give him one good compliment. He looks really good. He's lost a lot of weight. It is kind of we need to start working out a little bit more this winter. So.
To do like that.
True.
Well, because moral condemnation is something that should be taken seriously. Generally speaking, it is.
But all the people engaging in this behavior, the people attacking Hassan for this, that, and the other, they're not socialists. Overwhelmingly, it's conservatives and liberals doing this, which suggests to me that the attitude you're advocating for here is not actually in the best interest of our movement. It sounds like it's in the best interest of our movement because you're encouraging things like
how do you grow a movement?
Good optics, self-checking. But in reality, it just seems like a
self-checking, consistency. What the fuck? What the fuck? Isn't that good? And not only that, don't you want more people to come into your fold? Because now, not only is it sounding a little griftery, it's sounding a little clicky. Okay? Sound like this is our ideology. We have our people. We don't want anybody else. This is what we're doing. And then not only that, you're asking. No, not yet. You have oops. That's okay. We're not even that far in. I think we're only like a couple minutes in. Yeah, I've heard. I've heard. I don't even know how long we're in. Oh my god, we're only 16 minutes in. Holy fuck. Yeah, poor Duber hasn't seen it yet. We'll speed it up a little bit. 1.25, is that too fast for people? I know. Keep it going? Okay. No, do it. We'll do 1.5. 1.25, okay? Listen here, Duber. Speed up those ears.
At attacking people that you don't like on the left.
Oh, fuck,
you say it's
that
not
might
about
be too
hypocrisy,
fast.
but do we have these conversations about non-socialists? I mean, there are tons of wealthy celebrities out there who have pet social projects that they don't donate millions and millions of dollars to. And at most, that's a passing fixation. It's something we say, oh, maybe they could do that then. But with Hassan, this is a critical moral failing that has to be the subject of months of discourse. You see?
Yeah, so allow me to ameliorate that. I think it's because in a lot of instances, unironically, there's a lot of people who I would actually point to as models for going above and beyond that exist outside of, you know, this specifically, I guess, Hassan. I really don't want to attack him specifically, but like even you, I would agree, go above and beyond in certain areas where I don't believe that this moral condemnation would apply to you. Your consistent fundraising, at least your outspoken desire to participate in direct action, and what have you. I wouldn't, right? Yeah. So I wouldn't apply this criticism to you. However, I think we can hold other people to a higher standard, and this discourse has been spawned off of, like,
oh shit,
you know, again, Hassan. And
Hot
so
take?
I think we can hold him to a higher standard, like even just a standard of, again,
Hot
doing
take
maybe
that we should
one
hold people to
fundraiser a year,
standards.
right, or what
Cancel
have
me
you. And I
for
think
it.
I think we ought to push that kind of a standard over and over again. But to address your point specifically about non-socialist people targeting socialist people for this, I don't disagree. There's a lot of people that throw shit at socialists just because they think like socialist means you have no money. But I also
think Vaush's live streams were shitty attempts at pulling an H-bomb to gain popularity.
think that there are people that think like me,
like
on
the
this, where it's like, damn, it really kind of sucks that we don't really
or
see,
the
you know,
out in like out in public.
We don't see canvassing. We don't see many of these things coming from specific people that talk about politics.
I didn't even watch
and
any live
that
streams.
ought to change. We ought to hold people
I'm not that cool.
to a higher standard who are promoting these ideas and things like that. We ought to hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah, probably some degree.
You know,
Duber has the same.
You know, people like Hassan are going to go
theory.
out of
I'd
their
probably
way
agree
and
with that.
support canvassing. Who is?
Considering
right? Who are we
he
expecting to fund canvassing, to get people
talked about the
politically
bigger
motivated, to
streamers
get people
talking to
politically
him, so-
involved, if not people like Hassan? Who else are we expecting to do? Like,
well, I guess, like, to me, ultimately, this does still reside on an attack on hypocrisy, which just doesn't register that much in my framework. When it comes to, like, well, who should be doing these good things? The answer to me is all of us, all the time. When it comes to, like, I don't think that a socialist should be doing advocacy for the working class any more than the filthiest capitalist pig. I think that all of us should be doing it. I don't necessarily know if there's some heightened... Oh, is this a fucking Malrune? Holy shit. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even notice that. That's good. I didn't even... to me, the idea that, like, people should be held to a higher standard if they actually advocate for these positions, in theory, it's good. You know, it's conceptually valid, and I think there's some, you know, some worth to it. I wouldn't deny that.
But not doing it as
just
neutral?
seems like, you know, the ability to attack people who you disagree with, which is why these criticisms are all coming from...
Once again, who are we holding
like,
to the
we
morally
right?
higher
Like,
standard?
if we were like, you know,
I do.
this capitalist...
Just to be clear.
Well, I don't think you do. Because
wait, okay, who?
With like, first of all, basically every single political pundit in existence sits on their wealth and doesn't contribute a huge amount to, like, public causes.
Well, that's why you gotta
and
be
a lot
a
of their
bigger
wealth is
person.
made, you know, through more ill gain than what Hassan does.
Jesus.
I mean, the wealth that he
Sure.
gets is done about as, I guess, not perfectly, but about as ethically as you can really accrue money in the system. So it would seem like we'd be doing this all
honestly,
the time, you know?
this is
Anderson Cooper, you know, Rachel Maddow, you're all in the chopping block. But
it's like
again,
Destiny's
that
argument
doesn't
of like,
happen.
well, why do you
Happens with
engage in the
Hassan
memery
because he's a
online?
socialist.
Oh, fuck it,
And if
because
this was
everybody else
genuinely
does.
Not about hypocrisy. The fact that he's a socialist wouldn't even be a part of the argument being made here. But it is
So I
every
can,
time.
I can
feel
disagree with
privileged.
that,
He's
and I think
truly
I can
taking all of his
synthesize why
arguments.
It is also, like, him being a socialist is also relevant. But to touch on your previous point about, like, Rachel Maddow and all that stuff.
Yeah, that is
the
super
part of the
weird.
reason why I talk about specifically Twitch streamers in regards to this, and to some degree some YouTubers,
It's like you're not
is
obligated to do
because
morally good things.
that's
It's
the
kind
people
of
that I
weird,
have the
bro.
most access to, the most
Especially if you have
connection,
the
people whose
resources to do
communities I run
so.
in the most, the people
Always
who I can
picking the
affect
most
to some
morally
degree.
neutral
I could agree
choice.
that most political
And then
pundits should
expecting
do these
society
things.
to
Most
change.
Political pundits should do.
I agree that
that.
they should, but there's a difference between should doing something and more.
I have a question. Is it too much when I talk over it, or can you guys hear me and it okay? Because if I don't have to pause, like on the big key moments, I'll pause. But if I don't have to, I'll just kind of talk over it, so that it doesn't take us like 4 hours to get through this. But oh yeah, oh god. Okay, good, perfect.
Really condemning a person who doesn't.
I
if you
would
were,
more
if you
fucking
were in
owning the
mainstream media,
slaves
like if you
one.
had if you were like a New York Times columnist or something, can you honestly tell me that you would be dedicating any significant portion of time to like writing out the dozens and hundreds of major political pundits who have a higher net worth than Hassan, and saying that if this person was really believed in higher taxes, then they wouldn't list this as a business deduction. Hold on.
But it's not always about the fucking media thing.
You
Jesus.
Nobody would. There's something particular about socialism and about Hassan and about this discourse on Twitch that is facilitating a thoroughly
Well, yeah, he's the
unproductive
biggest
conversation.
fucking figure there is on
the
Twitch
answer to
politics.
it is I wouldn't do that, but
of
not for
course.
those specific reasons. I wouldn't do that because, again, well, like, let's assume that I am the columnist or what have you, right? And I do have access to be able to do these things. I mean, I feel like I absolutely, at least maybe, I mean, I guess you could just call bullshit. I absolutely would call into question people's like resources and what they can put towards X, Y, and Z goal. I have no reason to. I mean, I guess you don't have to believe me on that one, but part of the reason why I don't criticize as much, like maybe the discourse isn't centered as much around other capitalist streamers or what have you, is because I actually think often Twitch streamer or YouTube streamer socialists are kind of following or trying to like catch up with other capitalist streamers. And this is something that wildly amazes me in regards to paying editors and what have you. The fact that it took so long to get a rev share model from Hassan in a similar capacity that Destiny's had for years.
And why not criticize him for that? I think that's a perfectly salient thing too.
And I have, and I think that these are salient criticisms.
But it's the same.
myself.
But it's the
fact
same
that, like,
kind of issue with the
I
money.
still don't think Hassan's mods are being paid, which I see no reason why they wouldn't be.
Oh my god, if he's not paying his mods,
in comparison
Jesus.
to like Co-Carnage, right? Who, to my knowledge, stopped taking donations and now has his donation link route directly to his mod team.
Well,
like,
okay.
why is
so what you're describing
base.
right now has nothing to do with socialism. It has to do with
I disagree.
Shit, where's
No,
the
I
labyrinth? All the
fully
way down
agree.
here. Okay.
Socialism is about a broader
Man, that'd be
social model
dope as
which
fuck. All the
reorients
donations that come in
relationship
go to the
between workers and
mods.
the means of production.
Oh, and you can
Is
make it so you
considered
get like
volunteer work in pretty
you have to
much every
donate to get
online community.
unbanned.
To pay your mods is a wonderful thing. However, don't you think this comes off as a little bit toothless and spite-oriented? Where it's like, well, here's another person who pays their mods. Hassan doesn't. How can you say to me this isn't about hypocrisy when you're very clearly targeting Hassan? Like, wait, hold on. The essential argument here is Hassan is pro-worker, so we should make a ruckus about it anytime Hassan isn't the most pro-worker person.
Yeah, like at least paying people for their labor.
So it's not.
Oh my
right?
god!
What it is I think people should be paid. If the reason
Seriously,
why I believe
somebody get
that
this
it is
guy,
against what
poor
I consider
guy a
to be
fucking
what
mad.
socialism stands for, is I
Jesus.
believe a core tenet of socialism is paying people for labor
God
that they provide.
damn.
What about
Do
mutual
you
aid
disagree with
and
that?
volunteer work?
Well, mutual aid and volunteer work has to do with like community organizing of a democratic origin, no? Like towards democratic
But then,
means, no? Like
oh, but then the resources coming in are usually go towards the charity or the thing you're volunteering to, not the person at the head of the fucking thing. Like, could you imagine if, like, I go volunteer at Habitat for Humanity, okay? And I, donating my time and money's flowing in, right? And all the money that came in went to, like, the top guy at Habitat for Humanity, and none of that money went to anybody else. Like, it didn't go back into the houses. It just literally went into that guy's pocket. Or that woman's pocket. Holy shit, people be losing their fucking minds. But that's more or less exactly what Vaush just argued for. Oh shit, like I'm trying to look for places I could be nice. Like I really do, like I really am. But oh, good lord. Take the free labor, comrades, unless it's in the name of spreading socialism.
establishing
Just, I mean, it can be just as simple as volunteer work.
Volunteer work for like feeding homeless. I don't think like volunteer work feeding homeless is equivalent to like volunteering to be on Hassan's mod team.
True.
Should be paying people who give their time towards bettering the community with mutual aid.
I mean, if they, sure.
Yeah, if that's
Sure,
like
I
if
agree.
that.
We should all be doing these nice things. Why should I be angry if a person doesn't?
Well, I'm trying to make the argument specifically about paying people that do labor for you when I was talking about the mod team, right? So people who do labor for you, is it not like, I don't think I'm obtuse for saying that like a really big part of socialism is paying people that do labor for you if you profit off of that labor, correct?
I mean, it's really more about who controls the means of production. But yes, ideally, the abolition of surplus value would be a component of that.
I mean, that's.
I
Yeah,
need
I
a
feel
nice
like that's.
house
Yeah,
for
I don't
this
feel like
mom.
that's much of a stretch, right? Is like that. I
Well,
don't feel like I'm doing socialism is win the house.
I have to
right?
caution because capitalism is all about
Oh,
like,
yeah.
unrestricted free enterprise and market
Sure.
competition. But I wouldn't
Sure.
get angry at a capitalist anytime they donated something or anytime they
Much, right? That like the argument.
paying people who. It's
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it can be just as simple as volunteer work. It's
Yeah,
doesn't
volunteer work for
necessarily
like
need a
feeding homeless. I don't think like volunteer work feeding homeless is equivalent to like volunteering to be on Hassan's mod team.
Don't you
This is
think that
true.
socialists should be paying people who give their time towards bettering the community with mutual aid?
I mean, if they, yeah, sure, why not?
Sure, I agree. We should all be doing these nice things. Why should I be angry if a person doesn't?
Because
Well,
he should
I'm
be.
trying to make the argument specific.
Because he should be paying for the mutual aid, but you agree with. It's a good thing to do. A good thing can still be a necessary thing. Like if your mods are there actively making it so that you can have like a half decent community while you're streaming, and they're taking time out of their lives, like they have to like actually watch the stream to some degree. Good lord. Oh, he's probably definitely. There's no way you have to be a capitalist at this fucking point. It's the only way. There's the only way. Because you really are all just about the money at that point and like keeping it as much for yourself. Because like if you truly didn't care about the money and like making people's lives better, then it should be an easy, yeah, you know what? He should be paying his mods. Who gives a fuck about the money? He's got more than enough money to survive. Yeah. Like, but, and we went through this earlier when he says as long as Hassan is furthering the political discourse, meaning whatever Vaush agrees with at the time. Oh my god. Duber would probably love it too. As long as you dress up like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia and put a bunch of papers on your back wall with fucking string all tied around your room. Yeah, I got time.
About paying people that do labor for you when I was talking about the mod team, right? So people who do labor for you, is it not like, I don't think I'm obtuse for saying that like a really big part of socialism is paying people that do labor for you.
Poor
if you
Rele,
profit
he
off
probably
that
felt so
labor, correct?
crazy in this conversation too.
I mean, it's really
Like,
more
am I-
about who
am
controls
I
the means of
losing it?
production, But
Oh,
yes,
fuck, I
ideally,
always
the
keep
abolition
forgetting that.
of surplus value would be a component of that.
I mean, that's, yeah, I feel like that's, I don't feel like that's
overkill.
much of a stretch, right? Is like that, I don't
Well,
feel like I'm
I
doing
just- I have
socialism
to-
is win the
Yeah.
house,
I have to
right?
caution because capitalism is all
It's
about
doing really
like,
good, though.
unrestricted free enterprise and market
Sure.
competition. But I wouldn't get
Sure.
angry at a capitalist anytime they donated something or anytime they bought something from a subsidized
Oh yeah,
industry or whatever.
because they're a
If
capitalist.
your
Because they're doing
willingness
exactly what their
to
like
impugn people
worldview
for hypocrisy is
specifies.
as ubiquitous as you do a thing which in some context doesn't align with the reality of
Yeah,
the
can we get some
perfect
fucking
society we live in,
relevant
then
hearts
we
if we
would
got
all
a
be
sub
fucked.
on there?
But Hassan is
Okay,
the
me
only
too.
one who gets attacked for
Hold
this.
on, but
Oh
because
shit! Actually, my
we
sub
don't-
might be done, but I think I resubscribed to him with the Zerka shit. Oh yeah. Boom. Look at that. Yeah, that's the biggest thing with these conversations. You definitely need to take notes. Yeah, after listening to Ahrelevant argue on the Zerka and Hans, I was just like, it's my boy. It's the man. It's the man I need to listen to. 'Cause damn, he did a really good job. Oh fuck. Yeah, that was something else. Yeah, it was crazy how long it was. It was good. It was good to listen to at work. It was fun.
don't do that because there's a lot of people that don't have the means to be able to avoid that. That's the key problem.
Buying
I
from
don't have the
subsidized industry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
totally
I don't know.
possible.
I don't have the
Yeah.
means to not buy from Walmart.
It's,
What do you mean? I have to buy shirts from Walmart. I
it's
have to buy,
wild.
Like, all of my goods from Walmart. I don't have the money to not do that. Hassan does. Hassan has the money to pay his mods. You know, I
Man,
I do have
I've
the
heard-
money
okay,
to,
so-
pay, like my
There is there's one really long Destiny video where it's him versus like Brittany Venti. I think Nick Fuentes jumps in at some point. Tonka Saw, Andy Warski, and it's like between 6 and 8. Yeah, the 6-hour one. Yeah, man, that is a fucking, every now and then I'll go back and listen to that banger. Because it honestly is fucking impressive. Your brain would hurt so. Yeah, your brain would hurt so fucking bad after. Oh God. Just that amount of thinking. Okay, this is the labyrinth. Oh shit, I did it again every time. I gotta remember, you gotta hold 3. Yeah, that was an insane one. That honestly almost doesn't even. It's almost on equal footing, if not a little crazier, I would say.
That looks fun. Let's go there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And like Rele keeps it up for the entire time. Yeah, and it's something crazy long too. Oh my God. I think the crazy thing is, I honestly, looking back, I don't think Destiny left the call once. Good old Nebraska Steve days. Yeah. Could you imagine? Holy fuck. Sitting there and doing that for 6 fucking hours? Damn. Damn. Oh, yeah. Sir. Yeah, you know what? Can you blame him, though? Can you really blame him? I would eventually run out of patience, too. Boom. Oh, that wasn't an overkill? Boom. Critical.
And stuff like that.
Do you have any spare money whatsoever?
Yeah, I do.
Oh. Do you keep it?
Yes, I do.
There are certainly people who could use it more than you, no?
Is your argument supposed to be the arbitrary nature of how much money I believe is necessary before we can give it to people that do labor for you?
My point is that this is pointless. If there's behavior that you think should be changed, what you can do is advocate for it to be changed. But you don't actually care about... I'll be honest. I don't think you actually care... Well, hold on. I don't think you actually care whether or not Hassan does any of this. I think that you dislike him and you like using these things as vectors for attack.
Because Ahrelevant's not doing it, therefore Hassan's doing it. If everybody's not doing it, why do I?
Correct positions he espouses, not for these.
I do both.
Well, I see what makes the headlines. It's not just you. Rather than this toothless attempt at constantly undermining him because people think he's not living the monastic lifestyle of a true socialist. Even Marx relied off of the labor that Engels' factory workers produced.
He probably paid them, though.
About it, I could go back to the origins and say that Das Kapital was written off the blood of, the proletarians exploited.
Did Marx probably paid those people?
Comes back to it. Do we have no moral obligations that we hold anybody up to? They just do whatever the hell they want.
I'm just telling you, you can encourage them to do better.
If it's any debate bros are into retirement, it's Slippery Steve. Yeah, true. I often wondered, listening to him do some of these conversations. I wonder if he'll ever hit a wall where he's just like, it's just not worth it. Yeah, true. Oh man. Yeah, be the change you want to be in the world. I try to truly. It's tough. I think maybe it's just that, no, maybe some people don't worry they're just not strong enough. But I think you gotta try to do your best. You're gonna advocate for something. You want people to do things. It's like caring about other people. I always advocate you should try to care about as many people as you can. People you don't know. And I try to do just that. No, pay for people's groceries you don't know when you notice their cards declined. I'm always ready. I see sometimes you'll see like kids at like the grocery stores and shit. And they'll be like, oh, oh shit, their cards declined. It's not glad, leave your shit there. Give me whatever cash you got. I'll pay for everything. I've done that before in the past. I don't give a fuck. The extra $10 is going to cost me is not important. I don't care to the happiness that person's going to get. Like the other day, there was like an old lady. Her fucking car alarm's going off. She's sitting in the car and she looks a little panicked. And it's like, are you okay? Like, do you need a hand? And she's like, oh, I just opened the door and the alarm went off. And I was like, oh, do you have the keys? And she's like, no. It's like, are you okay? Like, I thought maybe car alarm went off. Maybe you need a hand. She's, no, I'm okay. And it's like, okay, well, it'll shut off for somebody to be here with the key. So, fuck, he is going to be 85 yelling at people from Twitter. True. Yeah. Yeah. And hopefully he can do that. I mean, one of the more upsetting videos is that one where the fucking caller in from Nebraska, or Omaha there. And
okay, so then
hopefully he moves forward.
I mean, at that point, like, if we're holding nobody up to any kind of moral standard that they ought to do anything.
That. It's because the ought doing things standard that you're setting right now seems to be incredibly arbitrary.
Yeah, that was a fucked up video.
Dislike for the person. Which is why earlier I said you would never do this for other people. People don't do this for other people. We don't see this in mainstream media, and we don't do this to regular political pundits.
Well, it's because Hassan's not a regular person, you dumb fuck.
It's been happening for centuries. Toothless cowards. That's not you, by the way.
The video where Steven was talking to somebody from Omaha,
they whine and bitch that the
basically trying to wreck when he was helping Mark Pedgel.
That they don't actually attack any of our positions because they know they can't. So instead, they go back to these circuitous, meaningless, arbitrary, boundaryless
you could call me a
about whether or not you're truly living as a socialist, living your principles. I don't know what it means to live your principles. Do capitalists not buy from subsidized industries? Do people who believe that animals have feelings not buy meat? This is the same argument that I had with the vegans. And like with the vegans, it feels like they're more motivated
I don't know, man.
than the people they dislike than they are
I truly believe the cows were that sentient.
I'm okay with the good vegans. The ones who say,
and I'm still buying meat. You're probably getting a hypocrite stamp as well.
Affirmative arguments that change people's minds, not just an excuse to feel better than the people who you think aren't living up to their principles.
I feel like if anybody's attributing points here that don't belong to somebody, it's you to me. I haven't. You're like talking about vegans here and stuff like this. Listen, and you're trying to say that I really hate Hassan here. I mean, I've gotten into trouble saying that.
Disproportionate.
Sure, but
yeah,
I mean,
this is
you
once
don't know
again
my position
top
on it,
figure.
right? I literally get in shit because I say that Hassan is not a bad person to have as the largest political streamer on Twitch, right? I get in shit for saying that because so many people like think that we ought to hate him, right? And I could go down a laundry list if that's what you want me to do. I could go down a laundry list of why I think that's.
I don't think you should hate him. You should just call him out when he does dumb shit.
I don't fucking despise this man. It's not coming all from spite. But you keep constantly attributing this malice to me when it comes to my positions, and we're never going to make any headway if every time I try and make an argument, you're just saying, "Well, it's coming from a position of spite." This is never going to go anywhere.
I haven't accused you of acting out of spite. What I'm saying is that there's a historic tendency for people to use these arguments against socialists. Now, I'm impugning people broadly here because there's been mainstream attacks against Hassan for stuff like this. But you are, I think, participating in the same general bias that exists
figure
here.
To some
There's
degree.
a reason why we're not having this conversation about some random capitalist YouTuber who hasn't spent enough money donating to, like, centrist Democrat causes, you know? We don't go up to, like, random giant centrists online and go, like, why haven't you, you know, donated to Joe Manchin or whatever. This is very specifically a thing that people do to socialists. And for that reason, and because of the fact that all this ever does practically is stir up resentment and discourse on the left, this seems like an attack on socialism. It doesn't make our movement better or stronger, and it's being inaccurately and selectively applied, because if you really cared about the changes being made, you would apply them ubiquitously, not just with Hassan. So what am I to
Not
take
everybody has the same resources and wants to be the same leader.
Criticism ubiquitously.
I'm just going to take a guess. And I could be wrong, but you probably haven't made a bunch of content about every other wealthy person who doesn't have a lot of money on the books being spent on causes relative to their political positions.
Do I have to do that before I can even criticize one dude?
So, given that one of my positions is that this critique is often applied lopsidedly towards socialists, that would be something I'd be interested in knowing. It's not just you, friend. It's like everyone. There's a reason for that.
But it's not everybody's the same person in the same circumstances. Like, why be so binary about this?
On the political spectrum that does not participate in what I would consider to be many of these actions that I've listed so far.
Well, everyone says that, but we see it as the headlines, right?
Okay, can you point me to a specific person you're looking for me to morally condemn for this shit? I mean, you've pointed me in a direction, and I already agree, but, like, I don't think I'm going to make headway to Rachel Maddow.
I think the arguments that you're making right now are pretty much universally applicable against any kind of pundit or newscaster.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I don't think I'm going to make headway with Rachel Maddow, though.
Okay, well, let's be fair. You're not with Hassan either, right? Even I couldn't make headway with Hassan. And I'm
wait, why?
Hold on. But
if you can't even make headway with him, why is he being your representative for a movement?
I can contribute to a narrative that is portrayed in the space that Hassan is in.
Yeah.
And avoid people from making arguments I would consider to be bad or just not well informed on what we could be making and pushing people to use their power effectively.
How about Bastiat?
What about Bastiat?
Bastiat makes more money than I do. Do you know of any public efforts he's made
Bastier's
to
just
raise
a
money
fucking
for any
capitalist.
pro-neoliberal causes or any donations he's made to said candidate?
He doesn't have
I had no
to.
idea about Bastier's, the amount of money Bastier made.
Well, he's a lawyer.
Personally.
He's a
you know, lawyers
neolib,
don't
isn't
make
he?
as much money as you, right? They don't make 1/5 as much money as you.
He's not a socialist. Be like, hey, do you see that chef over there? Do you think he's baked a cake? Well, no, because he's not a fucking baker. He's a fucking chef. He's making steaks and burgers. Okay? The fuck? Be like, oh, you're gonna get on this baker for not making bread? What is that, his job? Do you see that chef over there? Making bread? No. Oh, okay, so he has a sock dem as well. Okay, once again, though, he has the capitalist, aspect. I'd be totally understanding that if he's, making a ton of money and keeping it. No, I don't always either. Although I don't like the fucking labels. I can't remember half of them. Honestly, I don't care. Bastier's cool as fuck. But yeah, it's not the same. It's not the fucking same. It doesn't even advocate for the same fucking things.
Oh, well, it seems that he makes a decent amount of money. I mean, do you
That's
think that he's
not
doing enough to live
no,
by
that's
his
not the
principles,
fucking
or do you
issue.
think-
The issue isn't the fucking money. The issue is what he's doing with his resources. He's not doing anything with the resources. That's the issue. Holy shit. The other thing, once again, Bastier's not advocating for the same things. If Bastier was out there advocating for, worker co-ops and all this shit, and he was, making a ton of money, and he wasn't doing them, yeah, we could call him out too, but he's not, so we're not going to. That's base as fuck. Yeah. Oh, that's dope. Yeah, it'll be... Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got no issue with Bastier. He followed me on Twitter for a while, but then he wanted just more news content. It was just too memey. I get it. But yeah, just good lord. Goodness gravy. Which hammer's better? Which is a bigger hammer? That one.
Considering the median lawyer makes $100 grand, yeah, I'm not expecting somebody to who makes that much money to be going out of their way to commit to political action large scale. No, I'd say when you're making that, I'm not even sure.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Bastier
I would morally obligate you to do
donates
this.
to
When
some
you're
degree,
talking
I would
about that
assume.
gray area that you were referencing before, and you're lumping in average people or people like me or my mother who make fucking $30K a year, right? You know, I wouldn't lump us in. Hold on, because you're trying to say that well, this could be applied to anybody. It can't. I'm talking about people with excess, people who are making $1 million a year surplus is what I'm talking about, right? When you're making that kind of money,
500,000.
Well, this is what I mean. You're making appeals to the
True.
exact precise money, and you're saying
Have your name next to your stream chat. I agree.
Precise point that therefore, hold on, that therefore you're throwing away the entire
Oh,
concept.
I guaranteed a lot of these chatters young. We looked at the demographics for our
you can afford to pay a mod $5
our extortion conversation, and most of it is around.
I don't think Hassan makes 10.
It's
Sure,
was it 14
if you
to
legitimately
24
want to
was the
stake your
biggest
opinion at 10
demographic
million,
or something
I will
like that.
fully take that. I will 100%
And then even when you did
If you commit,
14 to
somebody
18,
makes
it was
$10
still
million,
like
let's
a
say
good
you
chunk.
make $10 million
Yeah.
in the next year or whatever, and you stake that, sure. I just think
So,
that not a ridiculous point is
Ironically,
$1 million.
ironically, if you're like, oh, my chat is cheering me on, it's like, okay, well, what's the age of your chat? How old are most of these people? Because if it's just a bunch of kids cheering you on, that's it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, bro. So, yeah.
Plus. And part of the reason why I use this amount of money is because, if you look at how much money you can
skeletons.
make off of that money, just for instance, being in an account, acquiring interest from the markets, he will make $100,000 a year from just breathing oxygen and having that money acquire interest after inflation.
Based. I wish I
That
could
is
do
an
that.
unfathomable amount of money to the average person. When you make so much money, No, but that's like at that point, right? You don't have to work to live. You work 1 year and then you live the rest of your life.
These seem
True.
to be like tangential arguments at most.
So
I'm
the reason
fully
why
aware that he's extremely wealthy. He's the largest political streamer in the history of the English-speaking world.
Oh, crushed him.
Okay, so the reason why
22
I'm making
seconds to
appeals
get through this? I
is
don't
because
wanna
I
fuck
think
that.
that is a fair metric to hold. That if you're making so much money that you only have to do your job for 1 year, then you never have to work for a single day for the rest of your life. Do you agree that's probably a fair metric to say that, like, yeah, maybe there could be some resource spread that could happen?
There
Yeah.
could always be some resource spread that could happen. Do you
But,
think I don't
like, no,
advocate? I
Do you think it
advocate for
should
my
be?
chatters to donate whenever I'm doing a fundraiser stream. Do you think that I would stop making that request of them because they make less than $1 million a year? Of
I'm
course
not saying. I'm
It's
not
something
saying that
we should all do.
I'm not saying that it's not something that we should all do. What I'm saying is at some point we can easily say that, yeah,
We expect
at
you to
this
do a little
level
bit more,
of
especially when you're
resource
advocating
accumulation
for
and
it.
income, because I want to divorce income from wealth, because if he just had like $3 million, fucking $10 million, or
I think the biggest thing is
just
like
sitting
this
inside of
because
a
you're
fucking account,
advocating for
right?
like things
hey,
like this,
listen,
like
I'm not too sure about
arguably.
that, right? Income is a lot more like, that's something that you can grab onto.
You're
in
arguing to
comparison
change the
something that might be a
status
little bit more
quo.
slippery,
Why not
right?
just advocate for
Right?
everyone
Because
to
then
do
what
this
you're
for
saying is like
millions?
this. It's
Because
okay if you like
I
toe the
agree.
status
so that's what
quo.
I'm trying to prove is what is in your means. And I think the in your means, when you're talking about making so much money that you never have to work for the rest of your life,
That's
I think
really
that is a fair
weird.
metric for in your means. Do you agree or disagree?
I think, well, sure, but I think the bar for in your means is well below that. We don't say that
Sure,
a person can
but-
only donate if they're making like the median U.S.
That's it.
income.
We should
every
just
single
call 'em-
month,
just
right?
start
I mean,
calling them
Vaush,
status
I'm not,
quoers.
I'm not trying to make the argument that that's
You're not
the
trying
level
to
that we
progress,
have to
you're
go
actually a
donate, but
status
we've already
quoer.
made headway. We agree
My
that
bad.
he's at a level where he can
Oh,
donate.
you wanted to
My
progress and
point
society.
I never
off of
disagree.
Turns out you're okay just
Okay,
leaving
but
it
my
as it
point
is.
off of that is that if we agree that there is a level of
A real
access that like
progressive
he can donate or what have you
will,
that is
lead the
quite,
charge.
quite far away from like in any way, shape, or form hurting him if he were to donate, then like why wouldn't we advocate that somebody who believes in these ideas, believes in the mutual aid, mobilization of a viewer base or what have you, actually do these
do.
things like fundraise? Well, no, advocate
other
for
one? I
it in a
thought
way that
one
we
more
can
was
talk about like
kicking.
moral
No.
obligation. Like why is it that you're
You're
so
asking me
hold
to
on.
commit. You're
Nice.
asking me to commit to a position
Nice.
that I don't
Glad.
think an ethical
It's
foundation
my,
is a way
like,
of accurately
one of
describing.
the first
You have
one of the
engaged in an unfathomable
first couple of
degree
reaction
arbitrary
Andy
over the
streams
course of
we've
this
done.
conversation. We both know, and just to be clear
Son
how
of
like
magic
hammy we are on
shell.
this, okay? We both know that the standards you're applying right now are applicable to virtually every large political
Shockwave.
pundit, okay?
Fuck
The
yeah.
very few of them go off to live in like some 2-bedroom house while spending their money on social causes.
Sure.
Or even anything close to that.
Yeah, now you're
I'm not
he's so
advocating for that.
Hassan's
I know.
an
Well,
exceptional
You
character.
should be. Because the criticism
No.
that I have is that this
So you
isn't
should be
actually
doing
about
exceptional
improving the
things.
world
Thank you, Vaush,
or
we
about
agree.
sort of enabling a better standard for political discourse. It's actually about finding a tangential way
100%.
of
Oh my God, why do they always
accusing
come back to
socialists of
life?
hypocrisy, which has been the sort of
Shockwave.
primary attack against them for a long time. Wait, hold on, wait, please. You can't be upset with me for saying that because it does not escape me. I'm
Why is this
sure
guy still
that
alive?
if you were to spend even 5 minutes looking around, you could find plenty of capitalist YouTubers and Twitch streamers
But
who fit
they're-
easily within the monetary
Oh my
bounds you're
God, I can
describing.
see how you guys say we're looping.
who
Oh
do
my
not,
God, we're looping.
publicly donate to the political causes they claim to support. But it's always Hassan. And,
So-
by the way, me. I don't get it as much as he does, but it does not escape me that the entire online media circuit is
Oh my
constantly
God.
obsessed with how every dollar is spent when it's held by a socialist.
But
It
Rele's
only cares
tried
about
like 4
hypocrisy.
different
And to be honest,
ways.
I just don't care about hypocrisy. I care about good and bad behavior.
You keep attributing things
Okay,
to
but
me,
what's
and I
what's the
just
bad
completely
behavior?
just-
What can we
I'm
do about it?
talking
What can we do about the bad
that we
behavior,
typically
Vaush?
see, and while I cannot deductively tell you that you are biased in how you approach these things, the
Oh, Rele is biased?
different people and different
Wait,
different
what?
perceived types of behavior and the extent to which they are
Damn.
fits in with a broader narrative.
Somebody
which
gets
is
to this
century
guy
old.
some
Okay, can you
slideshows.
give me one
This guy's
capitalist streamer who's a
projecting.
political streamer because I'm preserving this for
Damn.
political pundits. One capitalist streamer who I wouldn't apply this criticism to. that
Holy
you believe just-
How many
shit.
have you applied this criticism to?
The criticism about spending more money, politically speaking,
To spend,
primarily.
to spend more
Go ahead.
money to better, further their political
Oh
goals.
my
Right,
God.
I don't even apply it to you as a literal fact of the matter.
Doesn't do
because
anything
you
after
said you
stream
make
either.
what,
While everybody
like
always just shits on
$140,000,
Twitter and whatnot.
$130,000 discretionary income at the
So
end
he
of the
never
year,
gets last
something like
word.
that. I wouldn't even
Yeah,
apply
let's
this
go
to
with
you.
that number.
Well, look,
Yeah.
that's what I heard
Yeah.
that you said discretionary after rent and everything like that. But anyway, like I wouldn't even apply this to you. I'm talking about
Yeah,
people with
I
such
don't
an
know
excess of
much
money that,
philosophy
like,
either. I'd be in the
it's,
same
like not even
I'd be in the
realistic
same
that they're,
kind
like,
of
because I think
boat.
there's many arguments to be made that you could be saving your
Unfortunately.
money for like in case you get banned permanently, which could be like you making
Any
only
day now, yeah.
yeah, that could be a very real. I
have
think
to
when
look
you
it up
make
someday.
the amount of money that Hassan makes, where he can literally live the rest of his life
You
off
down?
of 1 year's income, I think then I can start
down.
talking about, hey, you're probably not saving for a rainy day unless you're saving for a rainy day in a mansion, right? So like, let's talk about perhaps ways
Yeah,
that we can
absolutely.
be more
We'll try to
proactive
set
with our
something up
political
here.
goals and
It's
what have you.
almost
I
winter
think
time,
that's a
But I
fair,
think that's
realistic.
something I
so
talk about as well.
we're gonna have way
What
more
should-
time, and I
what
would
should
love
we
to have
do
those
when we more like a
conversations.
demo person? Like, what's the practical? Do we
We
say
should-
that like
Saw
Hassan is bad
Jangles on
now?
Twitter was like wanted to have a conversation, not with me, but just in general with people about something to do with comedy. And I commented. I never got a response back, and I wasn't really surprised. But I was like, I don't know a lot about the topic, but if you just want to come ramble, and I'll ask a bunch of questions. So that's what I'm good about. People can come on and educate me. One of the best ways I learn is just talking with people. So definitely something I want to do more. Woo! Woo! Who did that? Oh, that wasn't me. That was that guy. What? He's got fucking meteors? That's bullshit. Oh shit. Duber. With the big brain. The virtuous. It basically means virtuous. Okay. Yeah. Morally above and beyond.
No, they're contributing a net positive utility.
No. You could say, again, I don't do that. I know you don't believe me because you've spent this entire conversation so far saying that I'm just shitting on Hassan and I'm one exactly like everybody else, right?
So
I know
okay,
you spent that.
I really don't appreciate you mischaracterizing what I was saying. If you genuinely don't think there's an imbalance in the way
That's
this
what
stuff
you
is talked about
said.
with regards to Hassan being a socialist compared to others, I would say that's like delusional. And
Well,
this
you said
conversation
several-
is
yeah.
in line with those trends. You can't deny that.
Oh my god.
But I could make levy the same argument at you that you're in line with the same argument that people make that socialists never have to do anything with their money ever, and they can in fact just become a hyper-capitalist like Jeff Bezos after they're done because, hey, fuck it, it's their money, they earned it.
Well, I'm
And
not
then you would
talking
be
about
like, oh,
hyper-capitalist business ownership or being Jeff Bezos. I'm talking about being a Twitch streamer, right?
Right,
But if
and
your
I'm- and
position,
I'm
You're
not-
still owning a
I'm not-
business to
your
some
position, though, is
degree.
I don't really care how Hassan's.
Because you obviously have employees for you, you're just not paying them.
A couple $1 million, whatever Hassan owns, is chump change compared to the voice that
Oh
he has.
my
The spending of his
God.
money is meaningless almost compared to what he could be doing with his platform.
I disagree.
Willfully
Oh,
disagree.
sorry.
When we see actions like canvassing that was done in
Hopefully.
Georgia, I think that was
Jesus.
crazy powerful. And
Yeah,
Part of
Hassan
the
has
conspiracy.
Hassan has the capability to finance
got any
that
tinfoil
on a
hats in
level
chat?
that
We
is
need
like
some of those.
tenfold what
Yeah,
happened before.
Well, that would mostly be an exercise of his voice more so than his wealth. We have as streamers, we have a disproportionate amount of an audience relative to our wealth, you know?
Sure. So
yeah.
I can work with that. I can work with you because I don't disagree with you. My whole point has been about influence and wealth, right? And of course, I would hope that if he was going to do it, he'd probably pick up the tab. But I guess he doesn't have to.
Well,
but
on like booking hotels or something. I mean, depending on how many people there are there, like he could probably
course,
get like
right.
5,000, 10,000
Yeah,
people out to like a district.
Yeah,
I don't even know if he could pick up the tab.
Yeah,
on those
yeah, of
many
course,
people.
of course.
But you don't have to do that many people. You could do, good lord, you could do like a fucking, hey, this many people show up. I can only do it for like, we're only going to do it for like the first 30 people that come out and help me. And that's all I can pay for it. Anybody else that wants to stay here is going to have to pay for it themselves. Like, nobody's saying, and that's... I have no fucking water, and I'm super thirsty. Yeah, you buy a limited amount, and it's like whoever's here, fucking stay, and whoever's not, like, go the fuck home. Okay, we're gonna get some water because I'm talking a lot more than I expected. Okay. Fuck, the rock music on this pretzel station is fucking ballin'. Okay.
Expecting him to spend $3 million on this fucking shit, right? Or what have you. So I just want to make it clear that when I'm talking about moral condemnation, I'm not saying that we have to say Hassan is like the worst person ever, or even that he's a bad person, but saying that what he is participating in is a bad action. He's doing something bad. He's not doing something good. He's doing something bad. And the reason why I think this is important is because part of the people that you are criticizing for having this condemnation of him, or this criticism for him, is coming from that position, that it is bad for him not to be using his resources and influence to be able to further causes. When we talk about things like fundaising, he doesn't even really need
what we're talking about, though?
That is what I
Yeah.
listen. If you want to have
The
a
whole
conversation with somebody else,
conversation's
you can. But have a conversation with somebody else.
No, I am. It's just, again, it doesn't escape me that Hassan is the only person to get this. It just feels like if this was some...
Because
it
he's
just
an
feels like-
extraordinary
stop.
person
You're
in an
going to accuse me of
extraordinary
being bad faith here,
situation.
but considering my main reservation with this entire issue is the fact that people will say this is a
Holy
ubiquitous
fucking
standard,
black
and
and
then only
white about
socialists
this
get attacked
issue.
over it.
Damn.
The fact that you could apply this criticism to virtually any large political pundit in this country. Now, if that's a consistent standard that you want to hold, then you would be ubiquitous in your criticisms. And if that's the
But
case,
are they
I think that's
advocating
fine.
for
And
the
you can
same-
say
can
that,
you-
but I know who gets...
Can you give somebody of a roughly same size advocating for the same things that Hassan is, that isn't living those principles? I will 100% call that person out. Fuck it. I'll bite that bullet. Well, and that's the argument too. How could you ever argue that like the money that you're giving to like right-wing people is bad? How could you ever argue about like funding Fox News and shit? They don't have to live their principles. They can just do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. But it's because it's furthering his cause. Damn. Well, then your ideas are shit. Or you can't communicate them. If they're so bad that people can't understand them. Listen, the only chats we're circle jerking in is our own. I got no time for anybody else, unfortunately. I'm a YouTube video guy. Okay. If I'm lucky, I catch like 10 minutes. I honestly swear to God, don't know how fucking streamers do, like, have all the fucking time. I guess, like, if you're streaming, you're watching other people's streams, you're fucking chatting, you're doing your job anyways, but fucking chatters, you're the homies. Because, man, I ain't got time for that.
Videos made about them. Not from you, just you, but from everyone, you know? This is like one of those, it's like one of those things where I don't think you're being dishonest or anything like that at all. It's just, I think it's very clear that the hypocrisy element is the thing that drives this discourse, and that's the thing I'm least convinced by.
Okay, I don't, it's not about hypocrisy at all for me. I don't know how else to explain that.
You did earlier say hypocrisy was an element of it, didn't you?
I said hypocrisy was an element when it came to not paying the people that do labor for you.
Yeah.
And I stand by that.
Shouldn't everyone pay those who do labor for you?
Yeah.
Especially socialists should, because it is a core tenet of socialism, is it not?
What?
And when they don't, you should call them out on that.
Wait, okay. If it's a core tenet of the philosophy that you hold, you are held to a higher obligation to do that in comparison to somebody who doesn't have that as a core tenet of philosophy.
No, everyone should do good things.
Okay.
Should do things.
No. Okay.
By the way, do you consider yourself a utilitarian? By the way.
Yes. Yes, I do.
What you're describing right now is deontological.
It's not.
No, it is, and you're not the only
Waiting
one.
for the
do
hook
this.
to finish
There
up.
is,
Cheers,
as far as I
folks.
understand, no way of approaching this issue from my perspective. From a
All I
utilitarian
have is
perspective, while
time.
valuing hip-hop, does a bad
I'm
thing
listening
become
to
good if it's done consistently?
Rele
Does a good
versus
thing become
Vaush.
bad if it's done
Poor Rele
hypocritically?
getting frustrated.
No, it has to do with your ignorance
time.
relative to what you are doing, right? So this is where I was talking about like the hypocrisy and how people might address it and how I could better articulate it, I think, when it
Yeah,
comes to
who
this
doesn't know what
conversation.
fucking dentology
So
is?
the hypocrisy element, I think that of the people that aren't being just, ridiculous about it, because I think there are
know
people being
minimal
ridiculous
philosophy.
about it. There's an element of I don't know how.
Oh,
you
I
can
would
get
like to
a
learn
point
more,
where in which
but
you,
only because I can
not
try to call
more
out the
of,
shit
the individuals that might be making this argument. If I'm
doing-
trying to
oh,
get
and
as
we're
good
playing,
faith
Victor
people making the
Fran.
hypocrisy argument as possible.
Bring me
That it is a mystery how you can get like to the
Victor
point where
Fran's fucking great
you're
game. It's a little monster hunter game. You get like a couple of weapons, some superpowers. It allows me to smash things while I Babe Rose learning philosophy words is the worst thing. Yeah, and now you have to like counter them. Destiny blames himself. Yeah. Oh, I believe I've heard that too. Oh fuck. Destiny's last debate with that crazy guy using all them logical fallacy words. Good stuff.
Listen, you've been streaming for years, and you've had back and forth, you've had debates, and you don't pay your editor.
Yeah, true. Lets me get all my aggro out.
$100,000+ a year.
Sure.
At least $2.
Right. Debate is stupid.
And then I would extend this.
Why aren't you understanding?
Well. When you're making millions of dollars a year, just throw them a bone, okay? Just throw them a bone. Anything.
Well, I think
just
that
give
should
them
be
something.
the idea of paying people for their labor is not a uniquely socialist concept.
It's not a uniquely socialist concept. It's not. I agree. However,
holy shit.
Idea that
never heard somebody try to argue so hard out of paying their fucking workers.
The foundation of your political advocacy does matter. Okay, so
you're losing me.
I care about people doing good things and people doing bad things.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Allow me to explain this through the ignorance thing. Do you agree that somebody who is ignorant as to whether or not there are negative effects about, let's say, a capitalist business structure, right? Let's say there's somebody who is like a conservative and thinks that
I don't know what to say about that.
Really cool and like welfare is cringe and shit like that, and thinks you should squeeze your employees for as much money as possible, and is ignorant to the arguments made.
Not know that it's nice to pay mods for volunteering in your chat? Are they ignorant of that? If I said that to them, do you think they'd give me like a confused like Tim Allen face, or
it's not about whether or not they think that it's a good thing. It's about the necessity that they believe that ought to be done. So if I'm gonna finish the analogy that I was making just for a second, right? The conservative starting that business and squeezing their employees for money.
Arguably, Babalu, like the idea that a socialist should get paid fairly for their labor is kind of like a socialist key tenet, right? Like owning the means of production. Shit like that. So arguably it's got that wider base to rest on of like you should be paying your employees better. Oh, that's a good point too, Corvette, is that it's about the stake, but that's really weird. Because now, well, even that's even weirder, right? Because now, like, the editors realistically have no stake in it, right? If anything, they're, like, almost losing equity because they're not getting compensated for their time at all. And if they want to change something, it's just like, all right, you're gone. Like, there's more people waiting in the wings that I don't have to pay. So, yeah, sure. Well, like I said, we'll set something up. I'll message you and we'll set up and you can come on. Fuck, for as long as you want in the future, and we'll fucking you can fucking educate the shit out of me. I might even take notes, maybe. Okay, I might take notes. More than likely, I'll just probably ask questions.
Do you agree that that person
has
the same is worthy of the same moral condemnation? Who is that? Because you got to keep in mind that person's ignorant of any kind of argument about exploitative labor and anything like that, in comparison to a socialist doing the exact same thing. Do you think that they're both equally morally condemnable for their actions, or do you think because one is ignorant of a system that exists that exploits people, do you think that that person is less morally condemnable than somebody that is knowingly exploiting their workforce and that they know is morally bad? Just for their own political gain. Because this is the difference between malice and ignorance.
So this, first of all, if we're not talking about the utility derived from an action, then you're talking about, what is it called? The ethics,
I don't know, who gives a fuck? He's looking for, oh shit, I need a philosophy word! Oh shit! Gotta make Rele look dumb.
Virtue ethics, thank you, yes. You're speaking like a virtue ethicist. Of what concern should I have for people's, for their, how they feel about
holy shit, like I've never heard somebody wiggle so hard
what they're doing is good or wrong, right?
About to like justify not paying people working for you.
It's because they're ignorant to the way that like the world.
I don't think
Jeff Bezos is watching, taking fucking notes.
First of all, the conditions of oppression are equally known to capitalists and to socialists.
I haven't noticed Corbett.
Position on whether or not it's acceptable.
Tell me. I might actually not have.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
Capitalists are aware. Business owners.
Oh my God! 62 people? Are you crazy? Holy shit, hopefully Mike is in there. Dr. Heamed out, thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Oh shit, we're gonna listen to those for the next 40 minutes. Damn. Homie, that's way too much love, buddy.
Holy shit.
That's probably loud as fuck, too. Damn. Well, welcome, Heem Team. I'm Critical Canadian. This is really the first time I'm shouting myself out on a raid, so heart's fluttering a little bit. I do politics of Canada. Alberta usually based stuff. You know, we usually do news articles. We're trying a new approach. Little React Andy stuff. It's going well. We're playing Victor Fran. Pretty chill chat. I usually try to center myself more around the chat than I do anything else. Is Alberta based? It absolutely is not. It is the hellscape of Canada, where you can find oil everywhere and cocaine everywhere. So if you're into those two things, maybe Alberta is for you. No, Alberta, the only beautiful part of Alberta is Banff and Jasper, okay? If there was a scale, it'd be all of Alberta on this side, Banff and Jasper, and that's the only thing that levels it out, okay? Maybe even a little bit of the good stuff. Oh, you're right. I am forgetting the most crucial thing. I do live here. You're right. My bad, Dr. Haim. It is based here. That is true. That is about half of Alberta. And thank you, obviously, for all the follows. I'm a boomer. Oh, shit. Can I mute this? Probably mute this. Okay, we're gonna mute it because there's gonna be like 400 followers, and we're gonna continue on with this Vaush Rele video, which has been pretty ballin'. Yes, put Critical Corvid on your panel show. He's good stuff. Chat with him a few times. Yeah, Critical Corvid, get in on that. Oh yeah, you had the pardon the heme interruption, or pardon the heme interruption. Terrible with words. Still say your other podcast should have been burning the heme night oil, but we can argue about that another day. I'm doing, for those you don't know, tomorrow, hopefully if I'm off in time, we're gonna do the Bastier counterpoints discussion. Seemed like it went really well. Layman's a fairly good internet friend of mine. We're parasocial friends. Absolutely, CC. Us CC's got to have each other's backs. Oh, there's Mikey boy. Hey, listen. We don't do names on this channel, okay? If you've watched any of my article reading, every name that comes up, we have to butcher it. 100%. There's no way. That's what we do here. We butcher names profusely. I don't know if anybody in chat has watched this already. If you have, good lord. I think we're only like an hour through it. Not even. It's painful. We're not even an hour through it. Oof. Ouch. Yeah, I've heard it doesn't get better. I hear we loop. I've already noticed it a few times. It's like 3 hours. I don't think we're going to get through the whole thing. Probably another hour of it, honestly. But thank you once again, Dr. Heemed Out, for the raid. That is by far the biggest raid I have ever received, being here.
So we both know that this isn't a universal...
Two times it. You know what? We are going to go up one. We're extra. We're at 1.25. We're at 1.25. We'll go up one. Raids are awesome. And I think if it continues, we're actually going to make affiliate this month. So I appreciate that. Now I'm officially a heme orbiter. Gonna need that label in the Discord. Oh yeah, shit.
Exploiting a workforce is not just simple.
I turned
as
it down
seems.
for all the follows.
These people shouldn't get this much money because I put forward the capital and stuff like that. It's not that simple. It's not like, well, anybody looking at it at a passing glance understands the full scope of it and how it works. You may not understand how these people live their life. What it feels
well, I mean,
like
after all that Twitter drama about the Squid Games, I mean, it was only right that you raid me.
Socialism. Now we're just talking about the degree to which you can sympathize with the poor. And there are socialists who have no sympathy or empathy for people like themselves. Socialism is just a political philosophy, not a degree of empathy for people.
What I'm referencing when it comes to the ignorance of some capital owners, when it comes to how they exploit their workers, is that ignorance can result in them committing to actions that might be considered morally bad. And that when it comes to somebody's position on ignorant position or what have you versus a position of malice, we would generate like different moral condemnations for these actions. Or do
tactics.
so, like, maybe I could just reinstate this.
I think the way
Canadians will take over this space
should be modified to enact the best outcomes possible. So if you think a person is acting out of malice or knowing ill intent, I think that you would respond to that situation differently, not because they're being hypocritical, but rather because it could procure different outcomes. Or to put it another way, there are also malicious capitalists, aren't there? It's not like the same people who can run a business ruthlessly while knowing they're fucking over their workers are socialists. There are capitalists who probably run their businesses,
but it's worse when they're socialists
than many socialists who do. And those people aren't being hypocritical. The hypocrisy isn't the element there. The issue there is whatever way in which you can address the behavior that affects the best outcome. Well, and I think that my behavior affects the best outcome. My standard for this is we should encourage Hassan to do better with what he has. His money, his resources, his platform. But this, like,
it's a lot of word salads, unfortunately.
And the fact that this only gets thrown at people like Hassan, not just by you, but, you know.
And once again, we're back at this point. Like, what can I say more about this point? Hassan is like he's a big political figure. He's
any of the moral positions, you know.
He's not the normal. He's not the like test use case.
I feel like that's just you're just constantly stating something.
He's an extraordinary figure with an extraordinary platform.
Are you malice to you or pointing out a pattern? And
it's okay to expect like extraordinary things out of him.
The pattern exists outside of this conversation. I would say, from my perspective, I could understand if you believe that I'm like being bad faith.
I don't think you're being bad faith at all.
Okay, so then why
I think so.
Are you referencing this?
Well, because I'm talking about the general pattern.
I saw a bunch.
You're asking me for my opinion on how to address a type of behavior in the socialist movement. And my answer to that is
not even in the socialist movement. Again,
yeah, I think there was at least probably 12 there.
When we're talking
12,
about
15.
advocacy in general, this is what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me give you an example, I guess, of where I'm coming from here, right? Okay, so
not everybody's got the taste for the critical.
Something I'm talking about, and imagine that you come on here to talk about the cancel culture lefties. Let's say you're a conservative, okay? I know you're not, but let's say, okay. And you're talking about cancel culture lefties, and I'll agree with some of your points and disagree with a lot of other ones.
You know, I got one new viewer that wants to come and listen to me.
I'm gonna have to bring up the fact that cancel culture is always brought up to attack the left when the right does it as much.
I am in the
and then you would
Edmonton
say,
area.
Oh, well, I dislike it when it's done on the right as well.
Big
you know,
oil
we're just talking
capital
about
of Alberta.
like broader intent based on the conversations you've had with other people. And I would say, okay, fair, but it's a little difficult for me to ignore the fact that this is overwhelmingly a talking point used against the left, and by agreeing with anything that you say, I'm implicitly reaffirming the idea that this is some kind of biased problem. And I notice when I look at your YouTube channel, Random Conservative Ahrelevant, that you only talk about cancel culture when the left does it, and never when the right does it. So I don't know if you've bought the Kool-Aid a little bit too in that respect. That's kind of my worry coming into this. I don't think you're acting in bad faith. I think that hypocrisy is the big thing that drives your behavior here. The perceived hypocrisy.
So if you want to talk about my YouTube channel and how I talk to primarily people on the left, that's just because that's primarily
could be a little bit of a motivator, but I mean, it's like neither of these people are coming into this conversation unbiased.
Because there's no conservative.
It's important to remember that.
That's just the facts. There's like fucking 3. Right? Like,
Ahrelevant is going to have biases, and Vaush is going to have biases. They both are.
On Twitch politics, a lot of their opinions are very relevant. If you want to talk about overall whether or not they're relevant, absolutely. Like, they absolutely are. But then, like, I'm going to fall into the same pit that, like, everybody criticizes other people for, where, like, I guess I could debate Lauren Southern, but then I'm going to get fucking canceled for that because I'm platforming Lauren Southern.
And yeah, once again, even if he was an ex-mod,
with Hassan, or have you just talked about Hassan?
Can still advocate that his mods get, like, paid even if he wasn't.
Who you can talk to has nothing to do with it.
I'm not as old Hassan mod, and he should still be getting paid.
Honest to God, I probably never will. He is so big. But if I
let's take a second. Let's put this over. Come. So we have a little bit of a mascot on this channel. Okay. Hopefully I don't. We're big cat fans. Okay. On this channel, we love the kitties. Look at this thing. How epic is this fucking cat? That's Dictator Kitty. Look at that. It's a mascot. Okay. Reminds us what we want to avoid. Dictator Kitty. Okay. Both cuddly, but it's got claws. Best part about that was a birthday gift from a mama. She's like, well, I know you like cats, and she's like, I was trying to test photoshopping bodies on cats, so. That monster on the frame. Oh my god, don't you dare disrespect Dictator Kitty. I should stop rating people. Hey, everybody's got a little bit of monster inside them. Monster energy drink. See? I could do marketing. But I won't.
Channel. You don't post too often, but the 3 most recent videos are a rapid fire of Hassan hypocrisy.
Sounds like
sounds
like a wicked Circus Soleil.
Here's why Hassan and LFS.
Welcome to Cataganda.
Hassan responds to Ben Shapiro. Whereas, and I know I'm not going to find any examples here of you calling out like Philip DeFranco or like any large news pundit or even like
hate raid just for pets. Oh my god.
Video Game Donkey has talked about how he doesn't like Trump. Have we seen him put his money where his mouth is? I don't know. So with all of that being said, it does feel like we're all kind of leaning a little bit on the
Jesus,
hypocrisy
that
angle,
everybody
which is why I
does
just
it or
don't like
nobody
to.
does
If your
it.
general
It's literally the
position
whole
is you make an
argument.
effort to encourage political pundits to live by their principles, to donate their money, then I agree with you completely. I just go
Okay.
about it in a different way. I think we should be positive and affirmative
Is that better
because
now?
the alternative, like denouncing and like this person's bad and stuff, causes a lot of division and infighting, which is ultimately destructive to our movement. And my goal is
Okay.
always, of course, a strong
So,
socialist movement.
so then I'm just curious because it genuinely feels like there's literally nothing I can do to convince you that I'm good faith at this point. So I'm
I'm
giving
not.
up on
Wait,
that.
wait, wait! You have to stop doing that. I'm not accusing you of being bad
Okay.
faith. I'm accusing you of having biases, which we all have.
Okay.
Okay, well, so
you are
did you
heavily
have
implying.
biases,
That's
I'm not,
Vaush?
I'm not implying
Oh
anything.
my
I've
God.
stated outright how I feel about this. I feel like the hypocrisy angle is the big one for you. Because if it wasn't, then you would be seeing these criticisms made all
hold
over
on.
the place.
Vosh, can you meet me halfway when I say that you're implying that I'm bad faith? When I say to you that I'm not drilling the hypocrisy angle, when I prefaced me going off about the
Wonder what would happen if
on the
Ahrelevant
conservative
just bit
thing
that
and how
bullet.
like there's a difference between ignorance and malice and things like this. This was the position that other people were coming to when they were talking about a hypocrisy. That when people were talking about hypocrisy relative to Hassan, what they were really
We're
getting
talking
at
about,
was this idea that they
equalization
believed
payments.
that like somebody in Hassan's position should know better than to not pay their editor.
And
have
how
to be reminded
lockdowns
to
are
do that,
bad. That's
have to
what
be
we
reminded
talk
to pay
about
their mods.
The Wexit
That's
idea,
what they
that's
mean.
really
Primarily,
I mean,
if-
whether or not you
unless-
want to pay your
unless-
mods, I think that varies. Very few communities do that. I don't do that. I wonder if it would actually be a
The
privilege
fact that
in some-
Alberta is like a mini USA is
I don't know,
really
like
frustrating.
Ludwig fucking does it, Co-Carnage does it. I mean, it seems to do okay.
People doing a thing doesn't mean socialist. See, this is again
I'm not
exactly
saying.
what I mean.
Hold on, John, dude, I'm not doing this fucking thing where I'm saying that like because other people do it, socialists have to do it. What I'm saying is there are examples of people doing it and it not going to shit. That's what I'm saying.
I've never said that it would go to shit. I just,
You,
I
you
wonder
just
about
said that maybe there would be a perverse incentive, and I just gave you examples of people that do it where they seem to be getting along just fine, and then you ran off and said that's me trying to say because other people do it, socialists do it. I'm not. I was just simply responding to the fact that other people do it and their channels seem to be fine.
Well,
That's
earlier
all
in
I'm
this
saying.
conversation, you have explicitly said that the fact that other people pay their mods is an indication that Hassan should as well. And then just about 6
Yeah,
seconds
like-
ago, you said that we should expect people like
Like
Hassan to know
Destiny
to pay their
pays
mods.
his
So I don't
people
think it's bad
quite
faith
well,
for you
and
to
he's
imply
still
that
doing
you do think that
pretty
other people
good.
paying their mods means that Hassan should also pay their mods. That seems like an
When I
explicit
brought-
argument. you're
The
making, right?
Right, so when I
DST
brought
doesn't
up
look
the
that
initial-
good. I'll be honest with you. The DST is not favorable just because of the kind of winter hours. It'd be nice if it was more just always Mountain Standard Time. I think from the things I've read. So.
My initial statement about other people.
But I would like
paying
to
their mods,
stop
what I was
changing
talking
the
about
clocks
was
now,
The fact that
any
I
day
feel
now.
like we can often point to other people doing these X, Y, Z, and Z actions that we can draw influence from,
Mm-hmm.
and that we should copy what they're doing because it's a good thing to do. We can make this a moral standard, and I
Yeah,
don't
more
see a reason why
Carsons
we
and
don't make
stuff,
it a moral
and I
standard.
agree.
So I want to.
The West is very disconnected
but
from the rest of
Okay,
Canada.
so that's good. I think that's a good thing. But we should try to do it in a way that facilitates the best positive outcomes, right? I mean, we should.
Sure.
Yeah, and
right?
so
I
that's
mean,
where yes, we're not going to disagree on that. And what the only disagreement that we might have is which one of our positions facilitates the best outcomes. So my question to you is if you
one of
if
our
you just
positions has been expressed by Ben Shapiro. I mean, you do know.
wait, do you
that-
really believe my opinion was expressed by Ben Shapiro?
I think that an adjacent argument to it was Ben Shapiro's argument was a lot stupider than the one you're giving right now, for sure, because it's Ben Shapiro.
Hold on.
The
Just
basic argument
Alberta,
was
to
that
my
Hassan's a
knowledge, wants to
socialist, and
leave.
that socialists, because they have different
Strikes
standards
right.
for how workers should be treated, apparently.
Yeah.
They should be held to a higher standard when it comes to some of this stuff.
Yeah, there was
His
a
argument
comment
that you
earlier
shouldn't
by
buy a
him.
house. That's his argument. That's not my.
That, like, he doesn't care as long as Hassan is like furthering the political discourse, but he's very careful not to say the socialist political discourse because it's just more really at the end of the day, as long as Vaush agrees with him, it's okay. Like the ends justify the means type deal. So, just pretty wild. Oh yeah.
Well, that was being rooted in the broader criticism that you made, right? Because that thing that I just said, Hassan said, or sorry, that Ben Shapiro said, you said that because he's a socialist, he's to be held to a different standard because of you say a different degree of like awareness. Ben Shapiro
Yes.
never got that specific. Okay,
So
then,
awareness, though, no, you can't just. He's trying
you
to say
agree
that
with
he's
something with Ben
completely
Shapiro, we
bastardizing
shouldn't
these
listen to you.
ideas. Start trying to say if you believe in Marxism, that means you must donate all your money.
Your
Nowhere have
argument
I
is
said that. And
bad.
you attributing anything even adjacent to that, I think, is incredibly bad faith.
no,
like.
so the
What
argument
I'm saying is that if you're a socialist, you have an understanding that labor ought to be compensated to a degree that many people, many capitalists, like especially like conservatives, may not have that same relationship. That your passion, that your fervor for the position that you believe that labor
people's
ought to be
lives.
compensated is going to be drastically different than many other people. And
right,
I
but
would
these
attribute that.
are the arguments that Ben Shapiro made. Yeah.
No, it is not. Ben Shapiro's argument was that if you're a socialist, you should donate your money.
No,
it's entirely
his
different.
argument was that if you're a socialist, you have a different set of moral positions, and that you should live out. You should enact those moral positions.
And what was the way he argued you enact those moral positions,
So
Vaush?
your arguments weren't exactly the same. I'm not saying you're saying you can't buy a
Wait,
big house.
are you saying the
What I'm
same
saying
thing, or are
is
your arguments
the way in which
not the
broadly
same?
This discourse is getting handled
Yeah.
against Hassan, which is to say to morally condemn him, to say that he's being a hypocrite, etc., etc.
I'm not
Still fall further.
Wait,
into
hold on,
this.
wait, please, wait, stop. I'm
Yeah,
getting tired of you
I hope
like
so
playing the
too.
victim over things that I haven't said.
It's-
You did both of those things.
it doesn't
Both of the
look like it-
positions
in
I
Alberta, it
described to you
actually
and Ben
looks like
Shapiro,
we're
you
pretty-
did. So stop pretending that
pretty
I'm
still
being in
in
bad
much
faith.
agreement.
I'm not
The
trying to
way
say the way
you're
that
approaching this
Fringe
is
groups.
reflective of a lot of denunciation Hassan gets from people who aren't interested in the health of the socialist community. I am, because I'm part of it. So my only ask is that we when addressing issues like this, we try to do so in a way which foments good outcomes rather than bad ones. And the outcomes we're seeing right now, and don't think I haven't seen your content, by the way, okay? I know how you talk about Hassan, and it's far from a hyper-measured analysis of his behavior. I'm not going to get into it any further than that, but don't think
so
that talking to your streams
it's
like
just really weird.
else.
Like, you
I
can't
know how
call
you talk
people
about
out
it,
if it's
okay?
going to
I
be
think
a
that it comes
bad
down to
thing for
bias.
the
I think it comes
movement.
down to an attempt to attack socialists
Fuck, that's
in ways that
weird.
people would not apply ubiquitously to other groups. So if we care about the health of socialism, which you don't, so I don't know why I should care about your opinion.
Voice raising a
because
little
I'm not a
bit.
socialist doesn't mean I don't care about the health of socialism.
By
What do you
definition,
mean?
the health of socialist movements is defined by the likelihood of our victory. If you think that, like, if you don't want us to win, you can't by definition. Like,
What do you mean?
want us to
No,
win?
that's completely incorrect. I would rather socialists win than anybody else besides sock Dems. What do you mean?
Is that true?
What do you mean? Is it who the fuck else would I want to win?
Well, you would
The
want the
fuck?
well, historically, socialists will say we prefer the socialists to the fascists, but then they'll fight militantly against the socialists anyway. You can.
What the, do you think you really are trying to say I fight fucking socialists with
All right,
fascists?
all right, hold on, wait, hold on.
Yeah,
wait,
it
okay,
was
I'm
a
actually
jo-
starting
no,
to
like,
wonder
you're
if
gonna
you
pick the
want to say
socialists.
So listen to what I said.
But still, but it
it
feels
help if
like
you calm for a moment.
it feels like you have to like treat them with kids' gloves, right? Like, oh shit, you're gonna fight us on these things. Like, so we can't, like, it feels like even just like a light disagreement be like, you're fighting us on these fucking issues. Why you're choosing the fascist side? It's like we can still choose the socialist side and be like, yeah, I'm gonna more align with these people. While still being like, hey, I have disagreements about the way we should do things. No,
Do you need a break? You
Dilbert,
want some water?
don't do it.
What I said.
I would do fine without that.
Okay, well, I would do fine without the fuming. What I said was, historically, socialists have aligned
Too edgy?
with social
Not edgy enough,
self-dems
Dilbert.
on a lot of stuff,
Why,
but
you mean
there still
closer to
tends
the
to be a
side?
historical opposition between the groups. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go out there and fight Hassan physically. Historically, that dynamic between sock-dems and socialists has tended to be more violent
Rele
because
equals
that's how history
sock-dems.
is.
Some
So when I talk about
sock-dems
the health
have
of the
sided
socialist
with
movement,
fascists,
you'll have to
therefore
forgive
Rele
me
was
if
sided with
people
fascists,
say,
yeah.
you know, I'm invested in the health of the socialist movement, but then they engage in behavior that
much.
seems really, really similar to attacks people make against socialists and have been for hundreds of
Oh
years.
my God.
And they do so in a way that that sort of foments broader bad faith criticism. You know?
Would you like me to explain why I think that socialism is a good number 2 compared to social democracy? Would you like me to explain? Would that help?
No,
Or, like,
no,
what do
that's,
you mean?
no, you're missing the point. That's not what I mean.
You're okay. So you just made an appeal to history about how there has been historical precedent for sock Dems siding with other
Do
parties
it,
saying
Rele.
that they'll
Do
side with
it.
socialists.
Start
but siding with
clapping
other parties.
back.
Cool. That's not me. You can make an appeal to history and talk about that if you'd like, or what have you. But I don't know why you're talking about that when you could just ask me my positions.
Because, hold on.
I'm a lifelong conservative growing up in rural Ontario, meant that I was given. In the last election, I voted for the PPC. Really tired of having the federal government. I was elected by people in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, just because that's where the majority of the population lives. A lifelong conservative? Well, maybe I'll have to come on and chat sometime. I just want to understand. That's all, honestly, at the end of the day. Be interesting. Maybe DM me sometime. We'll, yeah. Babaloo is on his own way, but you know what? We're gonna ride Babaloo's wave a little bit. He's brave enough to come in, okay? Be a staunch conservative and stay this long. I think he definitely earned a seat at the table for me taking a second out of this video to chat. So yeah, Babaloo, you ever in the future you wanna come in? Get it. The Discord link should work. You can come in. Just read the rules. Just be chill. Most topics are pretty on table, so you're gonna rhyme Babaloo. I like the stream. Hot tub stream. You better believe it. You got the bare necessities. Something about these bare knees. Don't have to worry about your bareback necessities. How do you pick a winner if it isn't by the majority? I played the 5th. Well, the issue is the first past the post. In Canada, there's a lot of evidence showing that if they do like proportional flip a coin, proportional representation, it would spread the seats out a little bit more. You'd still obviously have majorities and stuff, but yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty chill. There's the first people technically on my stream, Sash, a VIP, if he ever gets off his lazy ass and watches. You'll see the little VIP's a conservative as well, and he's one of the first ones. And I've never had him. He's never been an issue, so I've never had to kick him. And we've had conversations before. 40,000 EAM points gets the VIP coin flip. That's how you should settle Canadian elections. Whoever watched Dr. Heem stream more gets to do the VIP coin flip.
Because my main concern is that you're biased. Asking you about your positions accomplishes nothing. So we're in a position right now.
You're also biased. Oh my god.
Is a argument
I can't stand your biases right now. They're showing all over the place. Me, I'm a pure bastion of light.
Often done very spitefully. This was with the House thing and with the Twitch Leaks thing. I mean, the idea that socialism, hypocrisy, they should do better isn't the central critique being made here. I think it very clearly is, right? So that tendency, that ideological through line, seems to be facilitating a lot of bad discourse. So I think the better thing that we could do is approach this from a more positive perspective. Yes, Hassan, you're doing a good job, but you could always be doing better, and you push them to do better. But you that's like, you know, condemn. They're doing a morally bad thing.
That's pretty much what we're really saying, but you can call them out when they're not doing that stuff.
What? We can do bad things even though we're doing overall good?
Well, then, well, then wouldn't the bad thing be a lack of every good thing we aren't doing? Do you do a bad thing when you don't give money to a homeless person when you walk down the street?
No, that's not how it works. So what we would do is we're talking about moral obligations, moral expectations given on your
potential. How do you determine what moral expectation is?
That's what we argue about it. We argue about it's ultimately arbitrary. All morals are arbitrary. We have to make some kind of definition or some kind of line in the sand that we draw, that we argue for, that we ought to hold people up to. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make an argument for why we ought to hold people up to the standard.
But I'm also advocating for that.
Okay, so
there are downsides to it.
Again, let's just actually get to it, right? So let's get to the core specific thing, right? Which is what is the difference between moral obligation and just saying, hey, that
appreciate the follow,
better,
buddy.
You're doing good. It'd be better if you did this, right? What's the core difference here?
I have no idea. I don't think there's any way to solve that within my philosophical.
Yeah, Alberta also has
it
like too far the other way.
Why would you shit on me for saying he's doing a bad thing if it's like, who cares? Like, there isn't really a substantial difference.
Well, there's a tremendously substantial difference, and it's the type of discourse that's produced.
Who the fuck is this boss?
This hypocrisy argument is being used by people as far right as fascists to attack us on. So we should probably focus on one that's like effective and pragmatic, right? I mean, if we want to like choose.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Albertan spread out a little bit more.
That aligns us with like every bad actor in the world, right?
So then your argument would then be against whatever argument you're attributing to me specifically on a bar. I think like the hypocrisy, argument that I'd be making about specifically paying people that do labor for you, I don't think that one is very widely held. I think you're just latching onto the word hypocrisy there. We're talking about people.
So it's not about the specific argument. It's about the idea that socialists should be held to a higher standard because the practical consequence of what. First of all, because the fact that you think socialists should be held to a higher standard as opposed to a different standard is very odd. Because you know what socialists tend not to.
Well, no, they should be held to the standard they're advocating for.
Socialist shoplifting or advocating for shoplifting, and then go, oh well, they're living by their principles. I don't have a problem with that. What you do is you hold them to capitalist moral standards, and then add on top of it or expect socialist standards. Socialists don't do this in another direction.
There is no socialist standard for shoplifting.
Wait, hold on. The idea that the public commons and all the goods within it have been seized, and that gatekeeping all those commodities behind like a price gate is like not something that the proletariat have a right to circumvent at the expense of corporate entities.
Wait, Vaush, you've been fighting me on whether or not it's a socialist standard to pay people that do labor for you, but now you're about to say to me that a socialist standard is shoplifting? How are you going to try this?
No, oh my god. All right, hold on. We'll try this a little bit better, okay?
Please stop using such flowery language.
Isn't what I care about. I care about doing good and bad things. If you cared about holding people to the standards of their ideology, you wouldn't mind when people who are pro-rape raped, or when fascists did whatever the fuck they're up to. You obviously don't actually care about holding people to the standards of their own ideology because you don't agree with everything every other ideology suggests people do. If you did, then you would be a moral relativist, and nobody likes being a moral relativist. They're cringe, okay? What you are is somebody who holds a higher standard for socialists.
I would want that person to be better.
It's harder to be a socialist than any other.
I still want them to be fucking consistent.
Well, you wouldn't.
As shitty as that is.
And a capitalist just has to do whatever they want to do. This is kind of a.
I can still call that person bad. I can still recognize that person is consistent, but it's a shitty person.
To, reinvest all of their money.
Good
or specifically,
lord.
Like, workers the lowest wage possible or whatever, because capitalists get to defer to some sort of generalized mode of efficiency. Their moral claim isn't that they should exploit workers to the greatest extent or own private capital to the greatest extent. Their concern is just that they do whatever is most efficient for the making of business. But that's not really capitalism, right? Capitalism isn't just doing what's most efficient. There are a set of very specific positions on what is or is not acceptable within capitalism, which systems facilitate the best outcomes. But nobody gets mad at a capitalist for buying from industries that have been subsidized.
You're a socialist standard for socialists. How dare you, sir?
You can't argue against our positions, so instead you hold us to a higher standard, a monastic standard. We have to be monks. We have to walk the world.
That would be a good point, Corbin.
Because if you wanted to, you could say, "Hey, Vaush,
what's a real socialist we can look to?"
Wait,
and it's that leader aspect, right? Who's leading the charge?
You're going off. All you need to do is ask me, why do I hold socialists to the standards that I do?
Yeah,
I can explain it to you when it's
just,
if you're not interested in that, why are we even having this
conversation? Because he's just living in the capitalist worldview.
If you want to have a conversation about some nebulous historical context or the thing that most of these people are talking about when they have this conversation, I don't know why you even chose to have this conversation.
Because the conversation that I'm interested in isn't in me interviewing you on why you think X about Y. I'm interested in explaining to you why I prefer my way of handling this. That is to say, not this hypocrisy socialist angle.
But you haven't
don't call him out at all.
Position is and why I hold socialists to a different standard on this.
Yes, I have. Wait, you've answered
It's
that
not
like
even
a
a
dozen
different
times over the
standard,
course of this. You've
though.
explained
Okay,
it.
can you explain to me why?
Because you think that a
Yeah,
greater level
you
of
could
awareness
say
of
it's the
potential
same
wrongs that you're doing
standard.
means
You're
that you
just
have a greater moral
arguing. You're just
responsibility
arguing for the
avoid those actions. You've said
consistency
that
of the
directly
things they
multiple times.
talk
I listened
about.
to
And is there any? So do you
I
agree that
responded
there
to
is?
that.
This is a meme.
So
That'd be
you are
great.
responding to the idea that in the difference between ignorance and malice, and whether or not they meet the same level of moral condemnation in our system. Because that's my point.
I'm
is that
saying
when
that-
somebody is doing something out of ignorance,
I
let's
don't
say
know if I
somebody
like this
accidentally dead names somebody out of complete ignorance, and in comparison to somebody that understands that the
good one.
person has changed their name and actively dead names them, that these two things are a position of ignorance versus knowledge, and that these positions have different
question to
moral
ask.
condemnation. The result is the same, but I would absolutely morally condemn somebody that is knowingly dead naming somebody more than I would somebody who didn't have any
Good
understanding
job,
and
Rele.
came to
That's
it
a
from
good
a position
example.
And I
of
don't think
ignorance.
that's analogous to conversations like this, because you're not talking about a
Okay,
direct
but would
one-to-one
you
action
hold
of malicious
those two
behavior
people to
explicitly done
different
with the intention of hurting a person.
scenarios
You're talking about
or different
a guy who made a lot of money
situations?
live streaming, and far more, I imagine, than he ever expected. And now we're talking about
But
like
he's-
whether or not
yeah, your
the amount
situation
that he's
changes.
making
You adapt to your
means he should be doing
situation.
more charity. We're reaching degrees of arbitrarity where, to me, the better solution isn't
No.
these strict moral condemnations, which I don't think facilitate good discourse,
Oh
but
my
rather
God.
a broader understanding that we should be socially
That's what
normalizing this.
that's what I'm trying to have a conversation about, is whether or not you like
But-
your position
but I was
about.
trying to do that, though.
No, okay. So then, I mean, because you were going off the whole time on your own little thing. I've just been looking for a pretty simple question, okay, in regards to this. What if like somebody like Hassan, right, whoever it is,
I don't
again,
like
I don't want
this
to
right
hyperfixate on Hassan. Somebody like Hassan who's making a shit ton of money looks at you, who says he's doing really good, and then sees no substantial criticism at all. You just say, hey, you're doing good, but you could do better, and he goes, oh, you know what, I'm doing good. Don't really care.
What if
No,
I'm-
no,
Surprised
what if I'm seeing a
intentionality
family of
actually
four,
a thing.
hardworking father who makes about $60,000
never
a
intended
year,
it to
and
be
he
a
notices
thing.
that I praise him for how good he's doing, but he only makes time to see his kids for about 2 hours a day, whereas if he didn't go to the pubs on weekends, he might have the ability to spend more time with them. Aren't I facilitating like bad behavior by not condemning them for that?
No, because I wouldn't put the moral responsibility on somebody who's like middle class to have to go out of their way to do that. Luxury,
To spend
like
time
going
with
through
their
a
kids?
yeah, you need to be able to relax as an adult.
Wait,
If the way that
if
they
you're middle
relax-
class, you wouldn't say that people should be held to a certain standard when it comes to taking care of their kids and spending time with them?
No.
They absolutely
You
can.
can still
I'm just
take
saying
care
that
of
it's
your
not as
kids,
cut
but
and
if
dry
you've got like
as
a choice
somebody who-
between
Wait,
like
so things not
going
being cut
out to a
and dry
bar
means
for an
that
hour
being
and
completely
also
uncomfortable
having
with
an
setting
hour
hard
with your
lines, so it is
kids
or is not acceptable?
versus
You know, let me
having
answer
2
your
hours, it's
hypothetical.
still okay to take like
think
the
you
hour
do.
to
Okay, so
yourself.
I really I didn't
Still
get all the way through
important.
it.
You
Okay,
still
so
gotta
somebody going
take
to a
time
pub,
to
that could be the way
yourself.
that they relax. That could be necessary for them to be able to continuously
Jesus.
acquire income, to be able to
I
make
still
the
don't know
household
what
stay
that has to
afloat,
do with,
right?
like,
And that might be
living your
necessary to
fucking
keep the kid fed.
principles.
And if that is the case, right, then so be it. That's unfortunate, but that's the way that we let it ride. I don't think that is an apt comparison to like somebody who is making all of this money, who has all of this influence, who could just do a fundraiser. Not even like I'm not even saying he needs to
Why not
spend any
two?
money, Vaush. Well, the reason why I'm saying that he could do a fundraiser is because he has all of the means to, and this is divorce compared to the person at the pub, right? Somebody who's making $60,000 a year
At the
can't
pub has
afford.
the means to spend more time with their kids, I think.
Okay, so if you want to make that
Once again,
argument,
if you're
yeah,
going
you could
out
be
for
spending
an
more time with
hour
your
or
kid, what have you,
something,
but
it's
the
not
means
the
to be
end
able
of
to
the
spend more time
world.
with your kid there is significantly less than somebody who streams almost every fucking day and could afford to one day of the year just
Fuck
do a
yeah,
fundraiser
just
to be able to
like
help people
one-
out. He doesn't even have to
one
spend
day.
any money himself, but
think-
just politically
And-
activate his audience to be able to do so.
Do you think one is acceptable? Like, why
Well,
only
something.
one?
It's a
Apparently, one,
starting
I'm having to fight
place.
tooth and nail to have a
Holy
dude do one, so
shit.
apparently, yeah.
Your fighting has no relationship to what he chooses to do or not. So in reality,
I
it's not about-
disagree. Like getting people to do things through, like being able to say, "Hey, you know what?
How do you get people
I
to
think
do
that, like,
things then?
You participate,
Going
choosing
to
to
the
not
pub is
participate
a
in
core
fundraisers
principle
at
of
X, Y,
mine.
and Z rate
Base.
is not something that we should encourage, and it's
I'd love to
something
go
I would
to a
consider
pub
to be
and
bad.
have, like,
I
an
think
actual
that
sit-down
absolutely
beer.
can push people to want to do things like fundraise or what have you. I think that 100% can. I think
How
moral
much would he have to
condemnation can
raise
absolutely do
in
that.
1
how's it
hour
working out
rally?
so far? Because
Huh?
the entire right media sphere did this line with Hassan, and all it did was make him bigger, more popular, got him more money, and he tripled down all of his positions. Is that
I think
working for you?
I think the reason why the right like failed on this is because they actually make really shit arguments. I don't know if you were expecting me to like fall into that trap, saying that he like needs to give away 80% of his money. I'm not even making that argument, right? That's not what I'm making. To capitulate to the right, he'd have to give away his fucking house, his fucking home, and like fucking give away his like,
Everything.
mother.
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not gonna do
You
that.
say
if you
just
just
do
watch your
more.
stream, change the
Be
speed.
better.
Is this? Are you really doing this, man?
No,
is this really your
my
bit?
point- my point
is
is
this
that
really
you're-
your bit? I'm
the
just a
point-
small streamer, and
Is
you're
that
just
you're
making
falling,
appeals.
you're falling back on behavior.
Is that what you're
seems-
doing?
You let me respond.
Yeah,
My point
when
is that
in
you're falling
doubt,
back on
attack
behavior
the
that doesn't seem
views.
to do anything other than like circle jerk to your mixed audience of DJs.
The one clip I saw was when he accuses Rele of debating in bad
Wait,
faith.
stop. You keep talking about what behavior you can influence in Hassan, but that's literally not even a factor here. You and I can't influence him. He's beyond us. What we're talking about right now is what behaviors we can normalize in our communities. And as far as I can tell from you,
Damn,
it's evidenced by
nice.
your unwillingness to commit to a hard position on whether dads should spend time with their kids rather than spend time at the pub.
You know
It
it's-
seems
Oh
like
my
you
God.
understand that it's really difficult to make strict moral lines when talking about supererogatory behavior or how much you can really
Oh
expect
my
from a person.
God, so we
And it
can't
also
draw
seems
these
like
lines, so
your
it's best we
mode of
not
behavior,
call out
your
anybody
way of
for
analyzing
anything.
this, doesn't produce any better results than what I do, but it does lend itself to the same types of arguments that the right
Oh
uses to attack
no,
the left all
I'm
the time.
so
So like any
close.
utilitarian standard, I would have to arrive at the conclusion that unfortunately, yes, my less toxic, more productive, less infighting, less divisive, like, way of addressing these issues, when we ultimately agree, by the way, on the same outcomes,
Oh my
is
god,
probably
all the
the
way
better
from
one
the
to adopt.
beginning? Are you
Okay,
fucking
so
serious?
because it doesn't feel like we're gonna make headway on that.
Oh,
I want to know, do you think that there's
Lord,
any
I need to
comparable difference
change.
between what like where you're advocating for that people do and just like somebody posting on Twitter?
Well, I have a larger platform.
Okay, large platform on Twitter. A large Twitter account. Do you think that what you're doing
Wait,
is
do
the
you mean like
equivalent
me
of a large
on
Twitter
Twitter or
account?
like a random person on Twitter?
Like, no, like, what I'm saying is, do you think that the
Need a
outcomes
special
with
tax.
which
I
and, like,
struggle with
what
the
you are
Q-
doing and what you are advocating that people
QET.
ought do is pretty much the same thing as somebody just shit posting that capitalism is cringe on Twitter?
Fuck you, Duber.
No, I mean I try to.
I am
put forward
good.
Better arguments
Okay.
for it, I think.
I
Okay,
swear.
a good argumented shit post about how capitalism is
I
cringe
honestly
on Twitter.
don't
Do you think
know
that
how
you're
we
doing the
got
same
here.
level of political advocacy as that?
If they were
Oh,
the same number of
political
people and
advocacy
engage
about
people to
doing
the
shit
same
on
extent, then
Twitter.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, then do you think that we should probably hold people to a higher standard than somebody shit posting about capitalism on Twitter?
Haha, true.
What's wrong with people shitposting about capitalism on Twitter?
Should we hold them to
How would
more?
socialism
Socialism
work?
very much. Well, I think socialism
I'm
only
not
survives
doing
if we
anything.
actually
Like,
put
realistically,
people
I'm
to
not
work and
doing
make sure that we
anything. I'm
actually have-
playing video games 'cause I'm fat
I'm
and
trying to make,
tired.
okay, so I use comments like we because I consider some measure of left unity to be a thing. So I genuinely like the idea of socialists and stuff. And again, they're my number 2 option. I'm rooting for them. Okay, I'm not trying to leave them out there in the dust. So I would say we because I very much see us going hand in hand on this one.
Hi-yo,
So that's why
yeah,
I'm
how
using the
about
word we.
it's,
I don't
think
want to be like
hand in
you
hand on
versus
which one?
us. We agree on 99% of things. Like so soc dems and
Like
socialists agree on
what?
so many things.
Sure, but I hate to bring it up, but I've noticed this odd trend of people with whom I agree on almost everything, and then I look at them and they spend all their time shitting on the left and misrepresenting our positions.
Oh
So
my
it's not about
god,
what
you
we
can
agree on, it's what we spend our time doing.
disagree.
You know?
Holy shit, it's like, don't challenge me.
I'm
You
saying
better
that's supposed to be
agree
a
with
jab at
me,
me?
or else I'm
No,
just
no,
going to
that would
take
be
it as like a slight against
Oh,
me.
okay.
It's the reason why people expect blood whenever we meet each other at a conference, but it turns out we agree on almost everything, and he's just incredibly, like, insanely spiteful online towards leftists.
Oh
Okay.
my lord.
Sure.
Yeah, and you're not
I
spiteful
can
towards
understand the
sock
animosity,
dems
I
at
guess you
all.
have there. I'm not really going to get
Okay.
involved in that. But anyway, so that's why I'm using the term we. Okay, if you want me to
Oh,
use
he
the
has
term
to.
you, I can.
You
I
gotta
don't
get
like
that social
otherizing
credit
the,
for it.
like left, of which I consider to be somewhat closely aligned to myself.
Speaking
I-
of, subscribe to
yeah,
Destiny.
okay,
Okay,
Just
well,
different
that's
matchups,
fine.
like-
That's fine. I didn't know to what like aim you were reaching at necessarily. But you were talking about having a higher set of standards for
Do the
people
exact
shitposting on
opposite.
Twitter.
We gotta level that
Yeah,
shit
no,
up.
I don't know why we can't have a higher set of standards besides somebody shitposting on Twitter, because I think that that's how we lose. We lose if we don't set a higher standard for, like, let's say, fundraising or canvassing and things like that. That's what we need to do to be able to set a higher standard.
If we can do it. But I think my outcome.
Well,
my
I think
way
it's
of
not can do it. He
handling
has the
is
fucking
produce that
money.
So do you think? So then, do
Who
you
else
think,
is
like,
gonna do
people
it?
who make a bunch of money are gonna wake up one day and just like realize that, like, because you're saying, hey, you could be doing better, they're gonna actually do something? Or like, what do
Do
you
you think
what,
they're going
I'm
to
trying
wake up one day to find people shit talking them online and change their mind? Yeah, I think that like high quality and good faith discourse from people who are sympathetic to them and are just looking to like share some mutual improvement is going to move people over far more than like laughing at them and saying they're a hypocrite or whatever, right?
Right. So I'm not laughing at them or saying that they're a hypocrite. I've yet to do it here.
Well, I know it's moved me over. Lord knows I've changed some of my positions over the tour.
Okay, so it's effective then. So we should shame when people do stuff we don't like. I'm glad we agree on that.
It's
Thank
always
you.
been like every single time people like sitting down and talking with me and making like a positive, you know, like what felt like a sympathetic and well-intentioned argument in my favor, and that does not even involve
When
calling
somebody
someone
put
a
the
hypocrite. I mean,
kid
that
gloves
kind
on
of just
with me.
seals people off to you right to begin with.
And didn't
I mean,
criticize me
if
too
we could
harshly.
make that argument
I
with that
changed.
specifically, sure. I mean, everything that I've said in regards to like canvassing or fundraising has
Yeah.
no hypocrisy. There's
So,
no hypocrisy angle
it
there.
doesn't
The only thing
work
I
or
even
it does
made even
work?
somewhat of an appeal to was in regards to paying people that do labor for you. That's the only thing that I made that.
And we
argument
want that to
But
happen.
I'm
So
just
is it
trying
okay
to
that we shame
specifically
him
address,
so that
like,
happens?
I think we could be doing significantly better than a shitposting Twitter account. I don't think that we should leave the canvassing up to the people who are just millionaires or what have you, or people that make less money than, you know, people who are some of our most affluent. I think it is a damn shame that we live in like a country where we, like, one of the most wealthy countries, where we have some of the most
Oh,
wealthy
he
people that we have
disrupted
access
it.
to be able to change the discourse around, and we advocate for
Oh,
them
what
to
are you
do
doing that
nothing.
side?
Like that we have don't hold them to any kind of moral responsibility. We just say, hey, we just wish you could do
just
something
do-
else.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like at that
And
point
then when
we're
you
just waiting
criticize
for
them, you're the
people to give us
bad- you're the
opportunities
bad
to canvass
person.
instead of creating our own opportunities to canvass and mobilize our viewer base or
Shit worked out,
influence,
me, so
and
we'll
we're just
work on
hoping that
anybody
somebody
else.
else does it, and then we can direct our audience in their direction.
Swear to
Why
God,
not
Chatters of the
do
Life
the
plugs
advocacy
the
ourselves? Why
stream.
not advocate that we do
But
that,
we
and by
can. It's
through
only
moral
the condemnation
responsibility?
and the hypocrisy angles that I disagree with. I have said on stream, and you can ask people in my chat. I've said
Okay,
multiple
I'll
times
ask all your
that
yes
I do
men.
think Hassan sits in his laurels. That he wants
Yeah,
to be
sorry,
like
yes,
a
people.
workaholic, like frat
Let's
boy,
not
like
be,
lean there
let's
and
not be
react to Andy and never
uninclusive
actually
here.
dip his toes in directly because he's, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily lazy because he streams 3 times as much as I do. It seems like more of a willingness to carve out his own niche and not to dilute that by like making himself adjacent to more traditional political organizing, which is what you would do through fundraising or like canvassing or that kind of stuff.
Do you
And
think?
I don't think that's
Sorry.
good. I don't think that's good. I think he should do better than that.
Right. So do you think that by not, because
Oh, why are you
maybe we're just going to
criticizing him, though?
disagree
Why
on
you
the
calling
approach,
him
because
up?
that's where it sounds like we're at, right? Do you think that like it would not encourage people into the future to continue down the same path if we don't set a precedent that this is not something that we should do, that this is a bad thing to do?
Well, you can't. I mean,
Yeah, this
the
guy's only
distinction
doing
between
this
when does it
level
become a bad
of
thing to
real
not
life
do a good
stuff.
thing is really something.
And I don't think it's enough.
The only thing that
Oh
I can
my
really do,
God.
I don't want to like be boring when I say this or whatever, but the only thing that I can really do is just advocate for people to do good things. Anything, or discourage them from doing harmful things. Anything outside of that, like some kind of broader discussion on when you do a good thing so hard that you need to be expected to do another gooder thing or whatever, which is kind of what we're talking about here, right? There's not even any legitimacy to those arguments. Like I said earlier, I do think the Democratic Party takes up space.
I honestly,
by
I can't
arguing
tell if
against
he just
Republicans, but doing
is
so from, like,
intentionally
attempting to
dancing
be a
around the
liberal. I think
topic,
they make it harder for real left parties
or
to
just
I'm not
really
arguing against
does
the
not
philosophy
understand. I want to
of
say intentionally.
doing good things in ways that leaves open bad outcomes or anything like that. I just don't like the way
True,
this is
you
handled.
probably don't.
And keep in mind,
Probably
we're talking
don't
about
on a
this in the
lot
most
of
like sanitized
Wouldn't be
way
the first
right now,
conservative
you know?
I know
Like,
that wouldn't.
I'm looking at your YouTube thing right now, and that YouTube short that you have is you like scream laughing at a video, which is basically saying that Hassan changed his principles when he made more money. Do you mind if I play that really quickly for my stream?
You can do what you want. Yeah, it's your stream.
Okay, really quickly. Okay, here, guys.
The grossly affluent is a moral obscenity, and our economic system inevitably
Not
leads
many
to
good
oppressive
takes.
and
That's not
exploitative
Duber.
power hierarchies. Redistribution is the
base
only ethical option.
Duber keeps me grounded.
But now that I think about it a little more clearly...
Julius Caesar used to have... Now, I've read this. Now, it might not be true. Maybe any history buffs in chat can correct me. That Julius Caesar had a man that would walk around and whisper in his ear, "You are just but a man." What is happening? No! Not going out like this. Not going out like a chump. Oh. Oh, those stones are the worst. Holy crap. Oh my god, absolutely getting smokered. Nope, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Duber is that person. He is Duber is the one that walks around and whispers in my ear, "Critical, you're not that good. Your takes are just mediocre." Like, ah shit, you're right, Duber. I am only human.
Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? I think I heard that in a video game once. And you know...
He literally did the meme, dude. He did the meme.
That is literally, like, is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? Is a Bioshock Andrew Ryan reference that is supposed to be libertarian, right? But actually, it is inherently socialist.
I mean, I won't deny that this is funny. That is true. However, I think the implication here is that Hassan changed his perspective on this because he got money.
Oh,
and I don't
you
know
gotta
if there's
stay
any way of
away.
demonstrating that, right?
I don't think there is either.
Of demonstrating it, or you don't think?
I don't think there's a way of demonstrating that he's like. If there was, I would clip
You'd
that.
have
And,
that,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. It just because this is like the tone of discourse that I see so
Okay,
often.
sure.
You know?
So
Where
if
it's
you
not,
wa- if
it's
you
like
wanna
it's like at the end of the
It
day,
might not
it's
be
like,
that when he
Hassan
started
makes
making
look
money,
at how
but now that he
defends
has
himself, look at the
money,
social stance,
if you
right?
want me
It's
to
not
lay down
as,
all
like-
of my grievances with Hassan, I can really quick so that we can have it all on the record so that you know exactly where I'm coming from. Right? So I think it is really shit how after the editor drama he
needs
proceeded to
one of
talk
those
about how
guys.
he wanted to set up a co-op for his
Maybe.
editors
I think we all
and the
need
people
one of
running his
those
YouTube.
people.
Then he proceeded to go on H3's podcast and then say he doesn't want to set up a co-op for his editors, not because it would be hard, which honestly, if he said that, yeah, that shit would be hard. Could you imagine trying to set up a co-op for like YouTube people? That sounds
pretty
incredibly hard.
It's pretty
Yeah, like I was fully expecting that. I would have accepted that, hands down, walked away, been happy. No, what he said was, it was like, because I am the primary producer of the content,
Yeah.
I don't think a co-op would be appropriate. And I was like,
That is fair.
I understand it, but like that's I
Well,
really
there's a
didn't
legitimate
like that.
argument to be made there, right?
I think there is,
The
but
thing with the cooperative is that collective ownership
still
is kind of the name of the game
benefiting
there. The
quite
problem, though, is that when
profusely
you're, like, in a media
off
war,
somebody
like,
else's labor
if
that
you're
you're
a
not
Twitch streamer or a
paying
YouTuber,
for.
you can never really have like a fair or equal share of what's done because there's one irreplaceable worker. You can replace editors,
Yeah,
you
I
can
know.
replace everyone, but you could never ever replace the person who's behind the camera or in front of the camera. I'm
my
sorry.
God.
So in
Yeah,
that case, the local
okay, but I can
cooperative only
replace
really
somebody
gets
at
a share
Walmart.
from
Does that mean I don't have
because
to
in reality,
pay them at
there's no way
Walmart?
for anyone other than the person in front of the camera to
Like,
make that
arguably,
person
you're
like
just
belongs to
arguing
them
that you
because
should
of
never
their
have
face.
to pay retail.
That's why I don't
so
think
I-
it's cooperative. It would be like it'd be like a virtue signal. I do pay sharing for sure, but in terms of ownership, they could take the channel. I'm Vaush. It's an innate characteristic, you know. Yeah.
I understand. And the way that it came off to me wasn't the way that you said it there, and that's the reason why I had
True,
the grievance
everybody
there.
can
Now,
be
I couldn't do it.
replaced.
I couldn't do it justice or what have you, right? It was just the way that it came off to me. That was a grievance that I had. The grievance that I had was that all of the arguments that he made, and during the editor drama, clearly showed that he had no understanding about actual like socialism at all. He made the argument about how he gave his.
Oh,
editor
I thought that was gonna be the kill shot. Yes,
and
that was the
meant
kill
that
shot.
the production-
I remember that.
Right.
But,
So,
yeah, I
nice.
guess when I see that, I mostly just see that like Hassan's a dumb fuck who has his foot in his mouth 24/7. That's why he's so
Yeah.
tall, you know, so we can reach and do the full fucking like wraparound. But
Well,
I don't know, like if our
this?
argument is like editors should be paid like really well, I think that about everyone, not just Hassan. But nobody pays attention to the editors of other big YouTubers or Twitch streamers.
not even-
They never
not
even
even
get talked about. It
arguing
only
for
gets
them
talked
to be-
about.
you're
with,
arguing
like,
against them
Hassan.
being
It's like,
paid at
so in a
all.
way,
This
I think.
is not
if-
even-
I'm just saying, in a way, it feels like this behavior actually normalizes the bad behavior because what it's essentially saying is that, hey guys, as long as you're not a socialist, nobody's gonna pay attention to whatever shit you're doing. You know, if you're a socialist, then you'll be scrutinized for it, and that's good. But if you're not, nobody will care. And if they do care, then you can just say like whatever, free market, dude, and nobody will pay attention because it's not actually about affecting good behavior. It's about the hypocrisy argument.
So this again, I just want to address
Right?
that specific.
I mean, a little.
So I.
So what is this?
Not in my
What does this
spheres,
do?
no.
Oh.
Like in the social democratic spheres, like the
that
idea
takes
that
me
like
back
your
up there.
editor
Okay.
should be paid rev share is like a commonality,
Yeah, no.
let alone paid at all. You have sock dems that make fucking $20 a month on stream paying their editors for videos and stuff like this. The trends are changing because of like we're saying that like you ought pay your editor, and I think that like
You
that
just let
is
it get away
definitely
with
influencing
bait and
people's
switch?
decisions when they
Did he
come
do
to
bait and
like
switch?
talk about on stream. Drama clearly showed there, and that's the reason why I had the grievance there. Now,
Sure, but be like a shared payment structure, because in reality, there's no way for anyone other than the person in front of the camera to ever take that ownership with them. It belongs to them because of their face. That's why I don't have a local cooperative. It would be like it'd be like a virtue signal. I do pay sharing for sure, but in terms of ownership, they could take the channel. I'm Vaush.
Oh, did it?
It's an innate characteristic, you know. Yeah.
I understand.
Sorry,
the
this
way that it came off,
this video is melting my fucking brain. Oh my lord, Jesus. Yeah, because he's arguing like, oh, well, they don't have a co-op. It's like, well, shit, you're not even paying him at all. Holy fuck. Oh my god. My brain. It's okay, I want to keep going. This is full of memes. That's base as fuck. I've worked all summer. My skills are still marketable, but it's a seasonal job. Concrete finisher. It's a lot of fun. It's not very fun. We're hopefully getting out of it soon. But same thing, marketable. There'll always be concrete finishers needed. Could be wrong, but I think Destiny's editor even had to pull in how his videos are edited and posted to YouTube. Even has to pull in how his videos are edited and posted to YouTube. Oh, yeah, probably. Oh, yeah, oh, fuck, what's his editor's name? Yeah, I believe so. I believe a lot of the editing that goes in, is pretty much all that person, for the most part. August, yeah. Yeah, August has quite a bit to say. Seemingly, anyways, the way Destiny talks about it, so. Just based. That's awesome. That's the way it should be. Fuck it, if I had enough money for like an editor, totally would. Fuck yeah. It's definitely something if I'm if I was making money off this and I had people editing, fuck you, right? Fucking rights I'm gonna pay them. Fucking why not? It's just passive income. My editors are happy. They'll keep doing good work. They'll put in more effort, right? Because now you just have somebody putting in the bare bones.
to me, wasn't.
If so, that's pretty cool. If so, he's doing a hell of a job. Or they're doing a hell of a job. Because, man, some of those openers on those videos are pretty fucking cool. I like the funky backgrounds. Some cool shit.
The way that you said it there, and that's the reason why I had the grievance there. Now I couldn't do it justice or what have you, right? It was just the way that it came off to me. That was a grievance that I had. The grievance that I had was that all of the arguments that he made during the editor drama clearly showed that he had no understanding about actual like socialism at all. He made the argument about how he gave his editor the computer. That meant he had the means of the production.
I remember that. I guess when I see that, I mostly just see that like Hassan's a dumb fuck who has his foot in his mouth 24/7. That's why he's so tall, you know, so we can reach into the full fucking like wraparound. But I don't know, like if our argument is like editors should be paid like really well, I think that about everyone, not just Hassan. But nobody pays attention to.
Oh yeah, it's not just really well; it's at all. You're not paying him at all.
Never even get talked about. It only gets talked about with like Hassan. It's like so in a way. I think
it's not even.
I wish they all get paid really well. That'd be so nice. They should get paid like to begin with.
Hey guys, as long as you're not a socialist, nobody's gonna pay attention to whatever shit you're doing. You know, if you're a socialist, then you'll be scrutinized for it, and that's good. But if you're not, nobody will care. And if they do care, then you can just say like whatever free market did. Nobody will pay attention because it's not actually about affecting good behavior. It's about the hypocrisy argument.
So this again, I just want to address that specific.
I mean, a little.
So Not in my spheres, no. Like in the social democratic spheres, like the idea that like your editor should be paid rev share is like a commonality now. Let alone
most people won't know the concrete trade.
That make fucking $20 a month.
Only reason I'm getting it out of it is in the hours.
Videos and stuff like this. The trends are changing because of like we're saying that like you ought pay your editor, and I think that like that is definitely influencing people's decisions when they come to like talk about editor pay.
I'm super greedy. I'm gonna be a socialist.
And taking note of other places where we consider it might have failed, like for instance the Hassan editor drama or what have you, right? I think there is real substantial change going on there when it comes to like people saying, hey, we ought to do this, we ought not do this, and what have you.
Because it's the principle of the fucking
I don't know, like you have so many people actively just like this is starting to become the norm, and that's something good.
Sure, but then hypocrisy should never come into it, right? It should always just be people should pay their editors more. And I'll believe that it's becoming normalized when I see non-socialists getting more flack for this on social media. The bias is so hard against socialists that Hassan got fucking like mainstream media coverage over it, which is wild.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, that shit is ridiculous. Like 90% of the people that talk about this talk about it in a trash way. I've never denied it.
Yeah, as they should. I'm definitely seeing some
I don't know why that discourse needs to change in order for us, me and you, to have a conversation without all of that coming into play here. Like, I want to be able to have a conversation, and I could keep going down some of the grievances that I have with the son or what have you, but like, that's more or less where it ends.
Yeah, well, again, keep in mind, I mean, I'm agreeing with the fundamental like position.
He never looks at Twitch chat unless it's to probably get like the validation, like right chat, aren't I right? Right.
Stupid to say, right? But that we should encourage good behavior. I completely agree with it. I think how you do it like matters a lot, though, and there are ways to do it that overlap with destructive elements of anti-left advocacy.
No, not even then.
And
oh,
I'm not trying to say that your arguments are stupid as fuck, like Ben Shapiro's. I'm saying that using hypocrisy as a vehicle for impugning for impugning socialists, you know, like using that as like a means to assign them a greater degree of
can we take away the hypocrisy? Because again, I want Jesus.
Are you watching my stream? Did you see me not pay attention to my health bar?
Oh yeah, I thought you were playing hardcore. My fucking heart.
No, thankfully no.
I was like Jesus Christ.
Oh, super hard.
Okay, so yeah, maybe we can talk because
raw,
again, I'm not trying to use hypocrisy for anything at all besides like
that's the best.
Not paying people that do labor for you and explicitly just like throw his mons a bone. That's all I'm saying. And like even still, if that language like fucks this shit up, I'll stop using that language if that's something you want to do, and if we can break bread on that, right? Like
yeah, it's not.
But like at the end of the day, I'm not using the hypocrisy. This is what.
Sometimes, I mean, okay, I understand how it can affect how you would respond to somebody's behavior, because if you think they're acting with like an element of malice, you might have to respond to them differently, because you know, different types of behavior require different types of responses. I get that.
Shit, he's gonna agree with that now. He definitely disagreed with that earlier.
Can you understand like the perspective that I have on this, or the feeling that I have, where it seems like overwhelmingly this conversation is only being had because people.
I guess I'll do a halfway shout out. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like and follow button. It's been a while since I don't normally shout myself out. If you want, there's a Twitter link, there's a Discord link. Come in, just be chill. I'm fucking dying. Oh my god. Holy sweet Jesus. I'm clicked off it. Oh my god, almost died. Critical Canadian. I do politics sometimes. Sometimes now apparently we're doing React Dandy stuff. Which is not bad. Usually I think the way it's going to go from now on is the first part of the stream. We're going to kind of do articles, kind of talk about certain topics, maybe learn a concept or an idea, which I enjoy doing. And then the second half will be kind of video review. We'll kind of do the memery. We got the serious and the memery, which I think will be the best way to go about it, because I enjoy the serious nature, but every now and then a man's got a meme. And yeah, we're pretty chill. Any conversations we usually do have on this channel, they're pretty laid back, even with people we disagree with. I've only ever really, actually, ironically, I've had more heated conversations with people I would probably more agree with than the people I've disagreed with. So, yeah, and we're pretty chill. So, and unfortunately with my job, because I work concrete right now, it's very all over the place. So there is really no schedule. Like tonight, we've gone way longer than we normally would. Normally it'd be like an hour stream or something. But it's going pretty good. I'm enjoying this video. So we're kind of all over the place. This coming winter, hopefully if I get the job I'm hopefully switching to, we'll have a set schedule where these days we're going to stream and we'll do these things. We'll kind of have content, moving forward. I do have a YouTube channel. There's only one video on it right now. You just search Critical Canadian on YouTube. I'm there as well. Yeah, finding young people to work in our field, absolutely. If that's something that we could definitely talk about, the young people part, not wanting to work these jobs, absolutely. Be an interesting topic of conversation, because we'd probably agree to some degree, but disagree probably how to incentivize them there. Maybe not. I don't know. We'd have to think about that. But yeah, like I said, we have a YouTube channel. It's got one video. We talked with Crowdsource Politics about streaming being exploitative. It was an interesting conversation. So you can always go check that out, and you can like and subscribe. I edit it myself. It is of boomer quality. So you're welcome.
Holding socialists to a higher standard than like any other group.
Well, yeah, I do.
Then we'll make that conversation.
But I think in certain areas that makes sense based on the argument that I made previously, which is that they have a greater understanding of
we'll set up here in the
near
future when I know I have.
I don't think you would disagree. That they have a greater understanding of how labor ought to be and is actively influenced by people that purchase it, trade it, or what have you, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
isn't
that's
the
more
technical
than
consequence of
I
holding
expected those
people to a
meteors
higher
to do.
standard if they're in the correct political movement to discourage people from entering that political movement?
Maple
Yeah,
syrup
you
and
would
technically
potentially
moose
discourage people from
droppings.
joining that political movement 100%.
We still do
in a
use loonies
primarily,
and toonies.
streamer fashion. I don't think very many viewers are going to be.
Based.
No, I mean, no, because it happens all over the board. And I know there are people in like the non-streamer
Coffee
regular people
costs
who
over
have
a
experienced
toonie
this as
now,
well,
though.
Where when you're on the progressive
It's a
side of things, you're
toonie,
suddenly
10
held to a higher
cents.
standard as well. You know,
Some
in a way,
BS.
like I'm not saying you're sneeringly dishonest about it, but in a way, it's kind of like how
It is. It's the most
accuse
creative.
you of assuming their gender when you're a progressive and you talk to them. Like they try to hold you to a higher
Some of the
standard
quarters
because
are really
they understand your beliefs
decorative.
and They, try to do it,
They get really
use it to make
fancy
your
with
life
the
worse or whatever.
quarters.
Stuff like that.
I
Like
don't know
being
why
a
they get
socialist,
fancy with the
If you really
quarters.
wanted to, you could hit a socialist for hypocrisy for anything. What about conspicuous consumption? That's
Yeah.
it's a concept generally aligned with socialists where they believe that the public consumption of commodities can be
Yeah,
used
we can totally levy
further
that
deify,
one
like,
too. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
capitalist,
keep piling them on, Vaush.
consumptive standards.
Yeah.
So,
Good job, buddy.
so would you be like, oh well, you know, you're a socialist.
All
but I
my
noticed that
Canadian
you
knowledge
drive a
comes
nice
from
car.
How I Met Your Mother.
Don't you think you're doing?
You know
like,
what?
Don't you think you're participating in conspicuous
Me
consumption
too,
somewhat here?
Cookie.
And then
Me
like
too.
it seems like because socialists have so much theory and they talk about so many things, there are so many
Shit,
potential
we should have
like,
restocked,
angles you could get whatever. You know what I mean?
stocked up on health
well,
potions.
so,
before we
yeah,
For
did
no
it.
benefit, like no
So-
good comes from this.
Well, I disagree with the no good comes from it because if you believe in the principles holding people, so this just comes down to the difference in how we go about it. I think if you hold those principles, holding people to account on those principles will
Would be a good
necessarily, if
thing.
you believe in them, result in better outcomes. However,
Must
right,
be,
you may
because you're
disagree that,
advocating
like,
for
holding
them.
What does it look like? What does holding them to those principles look like, and how does that manifest in discouraging
weird-
people from
really
participating
weird to
in it, and what have
advocate
you? And I think that's where the
for
real disagreement
principles if you
lies.
didn't
I think because we hold people to a
It made
standard
at
where
least
let's say
somebody's
make-
life
let's say we agree
marginally
on
better.
$1 million discretionary income. That means $1 million after taxes, after rent, after everything. $1 million income. They should pay their mods.
Because
a penny,
arguably,
right? Like I think because we do something like that, like obviously I'm
Arguably,
being a
even
bit
conservatives
hyperbolic, so
are
you have to,
arguing to make
bear with me on that. But like if we do
lives
something like, I
better,
don't think
they
very many
just-
people are going to get
I
turned
just
off.
don't think
They
that's a
just
socialist thing,
agree
like
on
having money,
how we
like,
go
paying
about
your
doing
mods.
that.
I think that's something like everyone should agree to, right?
So-
If anything,
Well,
considering the
Reese's
fact that
Syrup
modding is
sends
usually
it
considered
home
volunteer work and volunteering
trees
is something
on it.
advocated for by capitalists, you could make the argument that paying your mods would be more of a capitalist thing. Because
Wait,
capitalists are
what
the ones who
is
think
this?
that
Well, so
volunteer labor
to-
should be transactional by
so
nature.
to be-
But
to be
socialists
clear-
recognize it as
To be clear, I would apply this to sock dims as well. This argument about paying people like mods and shit like that,
Canadiansexacts.org.
and volunteers and stuff like that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
For instance, I've had several
An
people
old King
who have told me, yeah,
Clancy.
I'll make emotes for you for free, and I'm like insisting that they give me.
I brought
a price
that up
point
the other
so that
day
way I
as,
can pay
like,
them, right? Because I think that the labor that they
trying
provide,
to meme
I'm
on my
benefiting off of
mom.
it materially. I ought to provide them.
Somebody Googled it,
compensation
and they're
for
like,
said
what the
labor.
fuck?
Right.
It's only from How I Met Your Mother.
reason-
Like,
the
yeah, that
reason-
sounds right.
more than like any other group.
Yeah, I would agree that I would hold them to a standard where in which, yeah, they should do those things, but I don't believe the moral condemnation I could give them would be equivalent because they don't understand the ramifications of those actions as much as I do.
Wait,
They are
yeah,
ignorant.
they do.
I don't think they do. So I don't think
Conservatives
that
and liberals aren't ignorant to the fact that when you give people money, they can buy things. Why are you infantilizing
No.
them?
No,
it's
that's
not about
not
giving them money
money,
that they can
yeah.
buy things. It's about whether or not volunteer, like you're going about that interaction, knowing that the person who is saying, no, I don't want compensation for being your editor or compensation for being your emo artist or what have you, might be doing that from a position of, holy fuck, this person might find a new emo editor or a new video editor or what have you, and I really don't want to upset them, so maybe I'll just go without asking for payment this time, which is
Yeah.
absolutely a dynamic present that I'm not too confident that many other
Absolutely.
people may understand.
Sure,
and
but
me
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about like paying your mods. I don't think there's
Right,
anything more socialist. I think that everyone like kind of ubiquitously
But
knows.
my point is that if
Wait,
we
there's nothing
if
more
we
socialist than
understand that that
paying
system
your
might
mods?
exist, we are
So
going to
shouldn't
understand
Hassan
that as
be
leftists,
paying his
or people on the
mods?
left,
Oh my God,
more
shouldn't
broadly,
Hassan be paying his
then
mods?
other,
Oh,
let's say,
really?
like
You missed
conservatives,
it.
they're not going to fully understand that dynamic as much as we are. That there are people who are like
Oh,
editors
fuck,
or what have
Rele.
you.
That was
That's
a- that
at
was
least
like a
disproportionately this is the
shoe-in.
case. Of course, the conservatives capable of
Poor
knowing.
Rele.
Disproportionately speaking, we're going to understand that there's
Conservatives
poor
exist
people
outside of
or
any
people who are
government
editors
control
what have you
and
incredibly.
Man, you ever
I
watch like
understand
any
it. This
any
just
of
seems
like the
this just seems like
Quebec
kind of the thing that leads to people being really shitty to vegetarians from both the non-vegan and the vegan
the
side.
Quebec syrup
Are you
trade?
familiar
That's
with that
just
phenomenon?
wild.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, poor Rele really does, 'cause that was
trash
like- that was
vegetarians
a
because
fucking
omnivores are
slam
constantly insecure
dunk.
about the fact that they're like,
There's nothing more
participating in the
socialist than
slaughter of
paying your
animals, and
mods.
they feel bad
Oh,
about
okay,
it,
well,
so
why
they're
isn't
not eating
Hassan
burger because
paying
they
his
get money out of
mods?
that. And
Sure.
vegans don't like vegetarians because they think they've compromised,
But-
that they're still willing to eat animal-derived products.
Yep.
Yeah, but they're aware of the fact that eating meat is bad, but they're not willing
Oh,
to
so
go
now
all the way and still
intentionality
participate in
matters.
using animal
Doesn't-
products.
didn't he
The
just, like-
consequence of this system, though, is that like people get discouraged from even dipping their toes into veganism because any like entryist point ends up getting swamped with people who are accusing you of not adhering yourself to all the moral standards that you're going to find from people further down the road. When it comes to like
That's fine,
socialism
you
or
still
whatever,
go
the reason why
about-
hypocrisy just isn't a thing on my mind
still go
is because
about
it
it really
feels like
poorly and
that
still need
moral
to do
framework
it.
or even looking out for that sort of thing will only lend itself towards making your movement more difficult to like participate in and get
And
up off
call
the
out the
ground.
people
You see
that
this all the time
don't,
with,
that are advocating
with like
for
woke
it.
scolding and gatekeeping on the online left as well,
Oh
where the
my
moment you become a
God.
leftist, you're expected to check your privilege and adopt 47 different fucking ethical understandings of the way in which being white is bad.
No,
Or
you're
you
the
join
one
right-wing
adding all
ethical
these
shit, you can just be a
ethical,
dumb fuck
like,
and they'll just accept you, you know? And the
different
consequence of
fucking
that, even if you
standards and shit to everything. We're just saying be consistent for what you advocate for. Holy
who
fuck.
have no understanding of this shit. And then the left is really bad at it. And the
angry.
left is fighting better
makes the point
in
a lot
every imaginable
stronger.
way is fighting an uphill battle because we care about people being perceived hypocrites, and the right doesn't. They just accept people. That makes our movement weaker, and we're not talking about like crocheting clubs here. We're talking about who fights for the future of the world. A weaker left movement is a weaker world, in my opinion.
Okay.
So with all that being said, it seems like this, I don't know.
Who's leading that movement?
This way
it's
of
not
going
Hassan,
about
because he's not leading by
even
example.
if it doesn't have anything to do directly with spite, even if it's being done like purely out of altruism or out of a sincere desire
who's
to
doing it then?
make the world a better place or whatever crap like that, it still seems like its outcomes
Yeah.
are negative. So I have to find other ways of challenging this, you know?
I mean, I can disagree. I think that I agree with parts of your shit because it's just completely undisagreeable. Like, of
Really,
course,
the moral
Chris,
issue is not
only
being
agreeable, I
consistent
guess,
in
you
what
know
you
the term I'm looking
believe.
for there is like, of course, making your
Not that he has a
movement
ton of money,
incredibly
it's
hard
just
to be
you're for
applicable
what
for
you're
most
not
people to be
following
able
what
to
you say.
quickly jump into is going to turn people off at high rates. But then we could make arguments about how we could morally condemn people in a way that doesn't trigger their I don't know, their like runaway
Fuck
factor,
it.
or whatever we
It's
want to call
morally
it.
bad to be a
Their,
hypocrite. You're doing
like,
things that are
I
hypocritical.
don't
It's
use the word
morally
for children,
bad.
but you know what
Fuck
I'm
you.
talking
Stop
about,
doing
right?
them.
Like, I think that we can absolutely make arguments that somebody's doing something bad and that they should be doing something good, and I don't think that making the argument that something is bad just stops us. Well, it's
Said if
bad,
they're saying,
and there's not.
if they're saying you should be doing the good thing, they're like, hey, I think it's really good that you return your shopping cart after you're done using it at Walmart, and then you just like leave it out on the street. You're a hypocrite. And fuck you for being a hypocrite. Telling other people to put their fucking carts away, go put your cart away. Man. Fuck the political sphere, okay? Rele totally came out on top of this. That's why it's a bad thing to trigger people. Why is it a bad thing to trigger people? I guess it could mean, really depends on what you mean by trigger. Like, get them angry? I mean, there's a difference between, like, asking good questions and the other person gets angry because you're trying to trap them versus being a dick and asking, like, obvious bait questions. So, I mean, there's a difference there. But, yeah, if you mean, like, trigger, like Corvid is suggesting, where it's like you're poking being a dick at his base, you would, Duber. Come to the dark side. But if you're just like making people angry, it just depends on how you're making that person angry. So, but Duber, do you have cookies on the dark side? Because, like, I'm fairly hungry. I could go for a snacky. It's almost snack time. It's always snack time before bed. We have Froyo? Fuck yeah. People should be able to respond to both kinds of questions. Yeah, they should. Right? But it depends on what you're trying to get out of both of those questions. I mean, we're 90 minutes in. This is where you start triggering Vaush. Are we only 90 minutes in? Oh, sweet Jesus. Are you fucking serious? I feel like we've looped. Holy fuck. We're not getting through all this tonight, ladies and gents. Jesus. I don't even think I want to. My brain is already mush. We're gonna kick it up one more speed. Nothing good is going on after this point. True. We're going to go 1.75. We're going to listen for 10 more minutes until our brains melt. So. Oh my god, we're dying.
Nothing more to that. I think being able to say that something is bad and morally condemn something is a key function in making an argument that we ought to do something else and the necessity to do something else. I think if we're making arguments that, hey, everything that you're doing is all right, champ, and you could be doing better, though, it creates no, I mean, there's no sense of urgency whatsoever for that individual
there's no
to ever
shame.
improve.
It's like,
There's
you're
no
doing a good
incentive
job. You already gave him the
for that individual to
compliment.
improve, except for a double thumbs up or whatever.
Look, Smart tapped out. I don't blame him.
People that are okay in
100%
that space
don't blame
of
him.
lacking of criticism.
I'd tap
It
out
seems like
too.
that's been the case. However, we may just disagree on the, I guess it would be the anecdotal experience that we might have in both of these
tap out
approaches.
except for
I don't think that I have to get to the level where I'm arguing
Not
against
a
the
quitter.
vegetarian
I'm just
and what have
kidding.
you, and saying that they're a piece of shit. And,
Well,
I
don't blame him.
if you know,
I
if,
just-
if
maybe
people
I
don't
just
pay their
hate
mods,
myself
but then a person
to a
is like, oh,
different
I'm a
degree.
socialist, and then them not paying their mods, you know,
I'm comfortable with that.
it suddenly becomes an issue. You're essentially procuring the same social effect, right?
That's actually the one
what do you
clip
mean?
I
No,
did
I don't have to make the
see
same arguments as other people that might make
was
that argument.
poor book
Right,
smarts.
but if what you're saying is by joining up with a political movement, you are opening yourself up to new lines of attack for things you were not previously being attacked for. Isn't that kind of a passive discouragement against, you know,
No,
joining
it's
up with that
gonna.
movement?
Those are risky.
Oh, yeah,
There's
sure, of
risk to
course,
everything
yeah,
you
it's going to.
do.
But yeah, I'm sorry.
Is that a reason not
No,
to
it's
do
fine,
it?
fine, whatever, sorry.
Jesus.
Or like moreover against like moving over at all, you know. For instance, I know there are a lot of people who are sympathetic to like anarchist arguments, but like getting into that, I know that things get a I know that things get increasingly academic and esoteric, and it becomes like really difficult to adhere to a lot of the broader political stuff that they advocate for, and it's just so difficult. And the right never has any.
How did we get to fucking anarchists?
Right and fuck gay prostitutes out in the weekend, and nobody gives a fuck unless you're found out about it publicly. They do not give a shit about that otherwise. You know, Steven Crowder fucks trans girls. Is like a huge chaser apparently, according to some people behind the scenes. So is Richard Spencer, and like nobody cares unless it's made public. It's like the only time people give a fuck. You know.
Oh, so it's like shaming people for the being inconsistent and hypocrites is like
socialist.
Is a good thing. We should do that.
Right? I mean, if a person wore a nice shirt and they were a socialist, couldn't you argue that like they're spending their wealth in a way to demonstrate public consumption, which is sort of lending credence to the capitalism of production? You can make that argument if you want. I've seen socialists make that argument. It's so exhausting.
I mean, you could make the argument if you wish. My argument would just be that if you're stating a large position that this means
how you make your
argument, whatever, like
allegedly, not apparently. Sorry, allegedly, all that stuff that I said.
I thought you said allegedly.
Okay, allegedly.
Okay, but you can make shirts or what have you, you can buy shirts from a place that you believe doesn't ethically source those shirts, and that isn't really an issue for me until it comes to the idea where in which you have the means to be able to buy that shirt in an ethical way, if you can, right? So if you have, let's say the shirt is $5, right, from an unethical source, but you make like $1 million in discretionary income, and it costs $20. If you buy it from an ethical source, I would expect you to buy it from the ethical source at that point. I would say you have a more obligation. Yeah, I would say you have a more obligation.
Especially if they can't like defend which are the questions you're asking or they're like
for buying a shirt,
they're just getting angry at you.
Like if they got a shirt from Target, you would see that and you would go, you had the option to buy it from an ethically sourced local co-op.
But you just said that. No. If they consider that to be a large part of like their political identity.
Why does wait again with the hypocrisy? Why is what they consider for their political identity relevant? It's bad or it's not. And also, all socialists.
Like I would argue that Rele talking to Vaush and riling him up is a good form. Because obviously he's getting Vaush is getting frustrated by just the questions that Rele's asking.
There's no way you can buy a shirt without like doing the weird, like fucking paying for every single person's wage in a factory that you made that you handed over to the workers. And
but you said you condemn
it. I would condemn it if there's an ethical way to do it, and that's reasonable to be able to
do.
You
have that ethical way to do it.
In the modern world, you can just buy anything from co-ops. But you're literally saying that if a person, like if you saw a socialist who cared about this stuff, who was wearing a T-shirt that they bought from Walmart or whatever,
and it doesn't have to just be a socialist. But yeah.
Okay. Oh wait, hold on. So you would say you literally just said it depends on how much it's essential to their ideology. Why do you keep saying it's about hypocrisy and then backing off of that?
Wait, hold on.
I would just bite the bullet at this point.
Ideology only belongs to socialists. If you're, let's say, a conservative that believes that that buying goods, I guess, from a union.
Then it is a hypocrisy-based argument. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking bite the bullet. Bite the bullet, really. Fuck it.
Hypocrisy of socialism.
But why does the hypocrisy matter?
The reason why it matters is because you have the availability not to.
Wealthy capitalists have the availability not to.
Yeah, but they're not being hypocrite. They're not being hypocrites.
Unethically sourced shirts is a problem. They ought not buy it.
Does that make it not bad?
No, I don't think that makes it not bad. What I'm talking about is whether or not I can attribute some level of ignorance versus malice to it. If they recognize that it is a bad thing,
I don't think it's malicious.
I don't really care.
To buy a T-shirt from Walmart if you're a socialist and could afford to buy it from a co-op online. These are explicitly hypocrisy-based. I don't know why you keep saying it's not hypocrisy.
You're a hypocrite.
Talk about it. It is indeed about hypocrisy.
It's because the original conversation that we were having was not about hypocrisy. That's not what it was about. The Hassan situation was not about hypocrisy.
That is the thing that bothers me. It's when hypocrisy is used as a metric by which people attack socialists but not other groups.
I'm literally telling you that if a conservative or a capitalist had the same argument, that I would attack them as well. I don't know why you're honing in on socialists here. And also, I want it rooted in that, like, the original topic that we were talking about was not about hypocrisy.
Okay. The original topic that we were talking about was about what obligations we have to do good on our platform, and your arguments were specifically influenced by the political beliefs of the hypothetical people that you were describing.
Smart thing?
Which means that hypocrisy was the element. You're talking about hypocrisy every time. Every time.
It's about now that after I've done my own.
If somebody holds a political belief.
Okay, hang on. 6:02 to 6:14. I bet you he fucking timestamped it. Shit, I think he did timestamp it.
No more. No more. No more. No more. I'm done. I can't. All right, we made it 2 hours and 24 minutes in. I can't. I can't handle this anymore. I can't handle this anymore. I can't. I'm tapping out. It accomplishes nothing.
True. Fuck, he's a really good little artist. I like that. I don't know what program he's using, but that's neat to color.
Me expecting that they should carry out that political belief in reality means that I only care about hypocrisy.
If you think it's more bad to do a
triple
thing
speed
because the thing that you're doing doesn't align with your
man, I remember one time he was listening to
that would be by definition
four times the speed. It was unreal.
That is on the basis of your ignorance relative to the outcomes.
We got about 5 minutes left of this shit.
Somebody on the same level
capitalists are aware that when you buy clothing from a big box shop, that you do so in a way that like feeds a broader capitalist system and like gives money to sweatshops and stuff. You're conflating awareness of a thing and moral positions on a thing. The hypocrisy that you actually care about isn't whether or not you know that X or Y does a bad thing. It's not whether or not you care that X or Y is a bad thing.
Do you think that everybody who supports cops is knowingly participating in supporting the anti-black discrimination that is systemic amongst the police force?
No, but a lot of them.
Hold on. Okay, so I would make an appeal to those. So I mean, I mean, I would doubt that, like, that on the face of it, but even if let's agree on it, nonetheless, right? If we agree on that, then I would be making an argument to those people that are ignorant of that system. The people that are aware of that system,
So
those guys
weird.
can
He's argued back and forth. Intent is important. Intent is not
That only
important.
changes their level of awareness, not necessarily the moral harm of the action or the potential outcomes of how you would address it.
I think it absolutely does potentially. Well, it depends on the way that you address it is massively different depending on whether or not somebody's ignorant or somebody's doing it in malice.
Why? No? What outcome are you trying to achieve by handling it?
The changing of an action, whether or not somebody's doing something of malice or of ignorance. If they're doing it of ignorance, I could educate them.
Why are malice and ignorance the only possible options here? Do you think
what's the other option?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you eat meat?
Yes.
Okay. Is that malicious? When you buy the meat, are you thinking, hey, fuck these chickens? Or instead, is it just a little evil to which you have become acclimated? Something that you don't think about all the time, something which has become systematized, normalized. This is how it is with big box stores too, after all, right? I've bought from Target. I was a socialist before I was wealthy, and I still have been known to buy from Target. I don't go there thinking like, yes, this mattress spread. I hope the Chinese slaves who made it have arthritis, like the malice implies, and because we're circling back around Hassan here, I think that when Hassan but
if you knew somebody, the issue would be like if you knew somebody that was ethically sourcing that, and you went and bought it from Target anyways.
Much more descriptive, by the way.
Yeah,
which is
you're
that
a
he's
hypocrite,
and that he does whatever he wants, and that our goal should just be to guide him doing whatever he wants towards the most ethically beneficial outcomes, right? Like we should guide him.
Like there's a better way for Hassan to do. We know these better ways. He could do them. He talks about them, but then he doesn't do it. Yeah, he's a hypocrite.
So I'm just wondering, like, how could I levy criticism?
Yeah.
If I cannot morally condemn an action, how could I criticize him?
I do. I've said I think that I literally called him. I've called him an idiot like 3 times in this convo.
Well, there's nothing wrong with what he's doing. So who cares?
Sure, but he could always do better. It's true.
Well, how could he do? Well, then he's not doing the best he can.
But there's a difference between how
there's no obligation for him to do better. So why would he ever do better?
You don't have the ability to enforce an obligation on him anyway.
I'm not trying to enforce.
You're trying to shame him into that doing better.
Obligations have to have like the ability to be enacted. There must be consequences for like
criticism.
Okay, but I criticize. There's a difference between obligations in the sense that like you think a person has a moral ought to do something, which neither of us have a strong answer to, and my moral framework doesn't even have the ability to answer, and an obligation in the sense that we should expect people to do that, and I do expect them to do that. But the way in which you handle that matters.
I don't disagree in the way in which we handle that matters. It seems like we disagree over what kind of criticism we can levy against him, though, and like in what way we can go about it, and in what manner we can go about it.
Well, you cannot deny that in lieu of the environment right now, which is this huge wave of right-wing media attacks against Hassan for being a hypocrite, that I might think there's a better way of handling this, right?
Yeah, you could think that there's a better way of handling it, and I could as well, because I'm not using the same arguments the right-wingers are. I wouldn't say because there's a bunch of people making shitty criticisms of a person, that means that I shouldn't criticize them because, well, other people are making shitty criticisms.
I mean, you're still making the hypocrisy argument, right?
I would make not relative to the same way that all of these conservatives are. No, these conservatives are making the no, because you're reducing it down to that. You're saying you're making the hypocrisy. No, not in nearly a comparable fashion to any conservative. All of these conservatives are saying he's hypocritical because he's a socialist that makes money. There's nothing hypocritical about being a socialist who makes money. Not at all.
You've said there's something. Okay, do you think there's something hypocritical about a socialist who makes money, who doesn't use that money to further their political platform?
No.
Then I guess I'm a little bit confused because I was under the impression.
It's because I haven't been arguing about hypocrisy this whole time.
But then you have been, though.
No, I've been arguing that we ought to hold people to higher moral standards. That's what I'm saying.
So then can you understand my frustration when you're making the argument that this is something we should be ubiquitously doing, except I've never seen you talk about it except before Hassan. Your last 3 videos are on Hassan, and nobody's talking about it.
Way easier argument to have.
Hassan, and this is the 13th conversation I've had about Hassan. Like, I defend this guy more than his mom must. Like, and I don't even fucking shit. Like, in the context of all that, you cannot deny that you're contributing to this overwhelming slant. And even if your arguments are more nuanced, I won't deny they are. I mean, you're up against the mental fortitude of Ben Shapiro here, so I certainly fucking hope so. But
that's what that is. All of that. It's definitely from an outside perspective. Like, well, I don't know. I'm just defending this guy. I've got no skin in the game.
Because they
don't lie.
Being bad with money is more bad than capitalists think being bad with money is bad, and that just kind of comes down to it, right? You can build good arguments around that, but that's the core. Holy shit! That's the giant thresher. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I didn't mean to shout like that. That was very.
That's fine. Like. It just has to do with like your political philosophy and what you believe, what I can consider to be reasonable relative to it. I will hold you to a specific standard. I think that's fine. However, that specific standard should be like basic human standards, but also there's like educational standards that I expect like the socialists to meet in comparison to like other people. So
that is the stop saying it's not a hypocrisy argument, but then say that is a hypocrisy argument. We keep running around in circles.
Can you explain this to me?
Oh, he's the one running in circles.
For me to expect a socialist to know about, let's say, welfare, disproportionately speaking, relative to a conservative.
Anybody who talks politics at all should be aware of like welfare, right? I mean that should be like ubiquitous.
Well, they should be, but that's not the reality. However, I don't think it is obtuse for me to expect that a socialist knows more about welfare than
because this is the thing you keep doing though. You say that a socialist should know more about something, but you're not actually talking about what socialists know about. You're not talking about what knowledge they have. You're talking about their moral positions. I would appreciate it if you could stop because you keep doing this. It's like, well, a socialist should know more about X. Why? Why should a socialist know more about X? Why should a basic belief that society should be controlled by the workers mean that you're familiar with esoteric government policy that barely anyone from policy wonks really understands how they work in this country? What you're saying isn't that socialists know more about it.
You're saying that socialists have
different feelings about it. It's not a knowledge gap. It's a moral difference, and you're saying they're betraying that moral difference. That is a hypocrisy argument.
Fuck it, bite
So
it.
can I
Bite
respond
it,
to
really.
the original claim? So the reason why I would attribute that like socialists may know more about X, Y, and Z is because it is closer towards or encompassed by the tenets of what I would consider to be somebody who labels themselves as socialist. So if somebody identifies as a socialist, they're probably going to know about the means of production. Do we agree or disagree about that? Like we probably, yeah, that's probably the case. Right?
I mean, if a person's a capitalist, they probably know about like welfare. Don't you just know about welfare if you're poor in this country? I mean, you would know about it just tangentially if you grew up in a family that had to benefit from it.
Sure, but like my whole.
Okay. I'm also done. Okay. Oh my god. Well, hell now, partner. If you enjoyed that content, why don't you hit that like and subscribe? And don't forget to follow on Twitter.